Okay, we are here today with my buddy Edward Medina and my dearest, longest, most loyal, faithful, committed friend, Luis Contreras. You ready? 2821 Northside Lane, Vienna, Virginia 22030.
22180.
2218.
Are you just giving out an address right now?
That's my old former address.
703-641-4920. July 13th, 1980. June is the how? June 13th, 1987.
Yeah,
What is
Luis
That's
Alberto.
my former address when we first started hanging out. That's my landline phone number from when we used to have a landline phone, and that is my birthday.
So I just want to let you know, for those who are listening, I've studied Luis very intently, and we remember a lot of things from my buddy Luis.
Your turn. You say Garrett's address, landline.
No, you don't. He don't remember.
Berkeley neighborhood, Barkley neighborhood. And then there was like the apartment that his dad lived at, or was it your mom? No, your mom's apartment next to the Vienna Metro station.
Don't worry, man. You good, man. You good. I called you.
703-963-7424. You didn't have a landline number.
That's my cell phone.
I know. That's your cell phone
573.
number. You didn't have a landline. You did grow up in 2nd Street South 3. Was it 2nd Street Southeast?
Hey, just real quick. No more alcohol. I'm losing it. I took a little bit of unwind.
Oh boy.
I'll put it away.
No, you leave me there.
We don't need it.
My later.
Okay.
You lived at, was it 214?
Mm-hmm.
2nd Street Southeast?
214 2nd Street. Luis lived my dad's house.
Okay, yeah.
All right,
I lived in your childhood home. Yeah.
Let me just share.
And your birthday's September or something.
The reason I wanted to interview August 21st, my bad.
Oh, my bad. There we go.
Luis doesn't drink, but he does sound like he's a little buzzed.
A little buzz.
We have Edward here as our co-host.
Shout out Edward.
Because it's nice to always have someone have a different lens. For me, the most important trait in a person is loyalty. And I will share this story before we get into our childhood. And you already know what story I'm going to share. That's how well Luis knows me. You know exactly what I'm saying.
Yes.
Exactly.
Your wedding story.
And it was on my wedding day, and Chinese people are very slow to step up to the plate in terms of public stuff. So I was dancing with M.E.A.T for our first dance, and no one danced with us. And Luis said, "You know what? I'm fucking Latino.
Oh wow.
I'm better than these Chinese people.
He really said that.
I'm going to get up there and going to dance with my buddy Garrett so he doesn't feel left out with his girlfriend Caroline at the time." And they did that even though they knew they were about to break up right after that. And so Luis swallowed a bullet for me just so he could be supportive as my best man. And I just want to say I respect that, because if you don't have loyalty, in my opinion, you're nothing. And sad to say, I want to say a lot of names, but I will not. But Luis certainly is not one of those people. You are absolutely loyal to me, and I don't give a f what you do in your private time or any mistakes you make. But for us friends, loyalty is the utmost. And maybe some people will judge you, and I don't give a f, because you know what I'd say? You're not as lucky as I am to have a friend like you.
I appreciate it.
So they can say what they want, but you know, and then they should just be jealous of me.
Shut up. Yeah.
Take that, whoever you are.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, no, I remember that because I was dating a girl at the time. I think, what year did you get married?
2012. Luis has trouble chronologically, don't worry.
Yeah, it was like maybe 3 years after I graduated from college. I was seeing this girl at the time. It was a pretty serious relationship, but I kind of had my doubts. And then when I heard Garrett and me share their vows, it was like that awkward moment where I was like, I looked out at her, she looked out at me, and she kind of like looked at me with this like big old smile. And I was like, oh snap, I don't think I could marry this girl. And based on like everything that I'm hearing, like what I heard the pastor say, what I heard Garrett and me were saying to each other, and I was like, I don't think I can marry this girl. And after the ceremony, she came up and she started talking to me, and she could tell something was up. It was really hard to hide that I was like feeling a certain type of way. And I kept saying I didn't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. But then she was like, no, we need to talk about this. So we kind of stepped aside in our own private place and talked.
We're going to tell specifically. It was our Sunday school room.
It was our Sunday school
You went to
room
the third
upstairs. Yep, it was the third floor Sunday school room, and she's like, "Tell me what's going on," and I was like, "Look, we just really shouldn't be talking about this right now."
You
And
started feeling that on this wedding.
yeah, it was like it was
Right
during
at
it was
that
during the
moment.
ceremony because I was dating this girl and we were already talking about getting engaged and stuff, and I was like, "Wow, okay, my best friend's getting married. Like this is." This, what the pastor says and what Garrett and May's vows were to each other. I was like, wow, like, do I feel that way about this girl? And can I say that about me and this girl? And I just started thinking, you know what, if that's the case, then I don't really think that we could get married. And so when we were upstairs talking, I kept saying, I don't really want to talk about it right now. Plus, I also wanted some time to kind of think through things. But she kind of kept pushing it and was like, no, tell me what's wrong. And I told her, I said, after hearing what I heard, I don't really think that, we could
It's a tough
do
one.
that,
It's tough.
Like, I don't think we're there. And she's like, are you like breaking up with me? And I was like, I don't really know like what I'm saying right now, but we got to go downstairs because
To make a long story short, this is what you told me. When you looked at me, you realized you didn't have what I had. Or you all didn't have the same
I'm gonna
thing.
go on. But yeah.
And so that was
Yeah, I was like,
eye
okay.
opener for you. But
Yeah, that was an eye opener. So we went downstairs, and she was obviously, all teary eyed and was like, "Oh damn! Like, what does this mean for our relationship?" And like, I had like my own thing going on, but then it was like, "Ladies and gentlemen, like, please welcome the bride and the groom to the dance floor, like Mr. and Mrs. Wong."
So that's after your talk.
Yeah, like we came downstairs. That's why you'll see no pictures of me in Garrett's wedding. Like other than like
I feel like I've seen.
no, like candid shots, yes, but I'm talking about like an actual like formal photo of like me as the best man because we were upstairs talking through a lot of it.
For a long time.
Yeah,
So maybe a way we can look at this picture.
yeah,
We take turns being miserable.
I guess.
When I was happy, you're miserable, and sometimes when I'm miserable, I'm happy for you.
Yeah,
Unfortunately. So let's
Yeah.
go to the beginning.
That's good.
yeah.
We met 1996.
How old were you?
Wait, but let me back up.
Okay,
real
you want
quick,
to
real
wrap
quick.
it? Go put a bow on
Yeah.
it.
So basically, so we came downstairs and we were in this awkward place, she and I, and we were just like, "Oh, what's the fate of our relationship? What does this mean?" And that's when they were like, "Please welcome Mr. and Mrs. Wong to the dance floor." And Garrett from what I remember, I don't have a great memory, but Garrett was like, "I need you to back me up on this day because it's gonna be a very stressful day. There's gonna be a lot going on." And I know Asian people don't dance. They're not really like celebratory.
They're not Latino,
like
if you
they're
wanna say.
not very like celebratory like that. So then when they were like, "All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's like open the dance floor," like I knew nobody was gonna go out there, and I was like, "I'm Garrett's best man. Like I need to like do this." And so like I went out there with the girl, and she was not very happy with me at that moment. It was very awkward for her, understandably so. But I was like, no, I got to do this for Garrett. Like I got to be out here. And Garrett just kind of looked over at me, and he had like a big old smile on his face, and it was like the happiest day ever. And I just put on a big smile too, and I was like, he cannot know at all that I'm like miserable right now.
Told
Like,
him later.
yeah, I was like, this is not my day. This is not about me. This is not about us. Like, it doesn't matter what's going on with me. Like, my world could be falling apart, and I'm not gonna let
It's a
that
great friend.
interfere with
my
my
point
best
is
friends.
that's what friends are supposed to do.
Yeah.
Best friends or
Right.
whatever you want to call it.
I agree.
They're supposed to bite the bullet for one another,
Mm-hmm.
and I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And thank you. And I'm sure I bite the bullet for you sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. What do you remember? We met Taekwondo, 1996.
How old?
I was eight or nine.
You were
If this was 1996, I must have been 9 years old then.
8.
But I always tell the story that I was
9.
8.
8 or 9. I was in Taekwondo. We're friends. Blah blah. My best friend Parker was friends with your father. Parker knew your family.
Luis did taekwondo.
I was 9.
Yeah, that's what.
I must have been 9.
Oh, that's why
Of
you
course.
can move like
If
that.
I was born in 1987 and this was 1996, then I would have been 9 years old.
Yeah.
Damn, I've been telling the story wrong the whole time.
No worries.
I always
we-
say I was 8 and you were 10.
We hung out.
Yeah, I guess it
Didn't
was-
really get along. You slapped me in the face.
No, you're jumping around too much.
Good.
We met.
I was fast forwarding.
How we met. It was a taekwondo demonstration. in Springfield, Virginia, Youngin Martial Arts Academy, and I had gone to this one school in, I think it was like Falls Church, Virginia, this Taekwondo school, and the instructor there, his name was Master Wong, and he
Master Wu.
Master Wu, my bad,
Master
sorry,
Wu,
I
Master
got
Wu.
confused with Price of Vengeance. Master Wu, we liked him a lot, and he kind of created this big following, so he decided to open up his own school in Springfield, Virginia, called Youngin Martial Arts Academy, and then we left the school in Falls Church to follow him to his new school, so that way we can help him start, his business and start his school. And plus, he was just overall a good instructor at the time. Yeah, he was great. And in order to like start the grand opening of his school, he did a Taekwondo demonstration, and he brought this whole Taekwondo team and this and that. And I went to that demonstration, and then my dad's friend Parker, James Parker, was at the time mentoring / like kind of being a big brother to this younger kid named Garrett.
Yes.
And Parker saw my dad, and my dad saw Parker, and they started talking, and they were like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing? Blah, blah, this and that." And like a normal kid, I just kind of was like, by my dad. And then Garrett went to Parker, and then Parker said, "Hey, little Luis," like my dad's name is Luis too. He's like, "Luis Jr." He used to just call me Junior. He was like, "Junior, this is Garrett. Meet Garrett." And I was like 9 years old, so I don't really remember. I just remember thinking, this kid's tall. Like he's tall for an Asian guy. That's all I could think, really. And basically, I don't know what we talked about. I don't know what we did, but
that's when we met.
But that's when we met.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's go. So we kind of bonded over Taekwondo. Any memories, Luis?
Yes.
From those years of Taekwondo. We'll get to your sister later. But just in terms of Taekwondo, what do you remember between yourself, me, your impressions of me, our time together?
What are my impressions of you, like, at Taekwondo?
Yeah.
My impressions of you at Taekwondo were that you were really tough. You were really scary when you got mad. You kicked really, really hard. Your chest protector always got really loose. I felt like you needed to put your hands up more because you always got kicked in the neck a lot.
I know.
And I just used to think like, man, this kid really takes this seriously. And I remember I was like, he really, really pushes himself. Like, he's legit about this. You
felt like I tried really hard.
Yeah, he used to, I don't know how you used to get to Taekwondo.
Yes, you do. I took the fucking metro
Yeah,
and I walked there
you
for
took
like,
the
I
metro.
walked 45 minutes.
I remember
didn't take you?
you
He's
wore soccer shoes.
Adidas Sambas.
Yeah, the Sambas, the Adidas Sambas, and I was like, damn, like he shows up to Taekwondo like sweaty already. Like he seems like like I think it's like Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality.
Let me just rephrase it. So I
Sounds cool.
Yeah, I was like, this kid's serious.
I would have I didn't use my locker. So I would have all my books. So that's probably like 30 pounds
Your books?
in my book bag.
Okay.
And I would run to Taekwondo with all my books and also 5-pound ankle weights.
Why?
Because I want
Weights?
Yes, because I wanted to be stronger.
Okay,
And
so
I would
Garrett-
run.
Lewis is right. You take it way too
I
serious.
take it way too, and it's like a mile and a half
Yeah.
run.
He was
Ma-
for real
maybe
about it.
more than that. Shit, it was probably
Probably.
2 miles. I would do that on a regular basis, cold or heat. I would just do that, and I didn't think much of it. I just know that when it was raining, I was like, "Who else is doing this?" But go ahead, Luis. Any other thoughts or memories?
I was just looking for a picture of the day we met because we actually have a
I do
picture
have
from
it.
the day that we met, and for some
Maybe
reason,
I'll post it up later.
yeah, I can't find
that'll
it.
be
But
our.
we have a picture. I was wearing these little denim jean jorts with the Tasmanian devil.
That's actually not.
patched
That's
on it.
actually not the day we met. I was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But
Oh, okay.
don't worry, your memories. Don't worry. Just trust me
Yeah.
on it.
All
I was,
right.
I was sparring that day. That's why I was in my martial arts outfit. Correct.
I see. Yeah.
So the day we met, I was a spectator, so I wouldn't have been in my
Oh,
outfit.
that's right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, I just remember, but I remember you used to take it really, really seriously, and
I fight hard. I get my ass whooped all the time, right?
yeah, I was like, and the cool thing, what I remember about you was I was like, oh, the cool thing, and I was always too shy to tell you that, like, I was like, oh, I look up to this guy, like, he
Yeah.
looks really, like, he works really hard, but the thing that I really thought was super cool about him was that he always fought the bigger kids. Like the instructor, Master Wu, would always put him up against
How much
the
bigger?
more experienced
2 years, 3
teenagers.
years old.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, I was like maybe like 10, 11 years old. And these are like 16, 17
It
year
makes
olds.
a big difference between 12 and 15, 12 and 14.
Oh, yeah, big difference. So I'm like, these are kind of like the young.
Master Wu would beat my ass too.
Yeah, like these are like the young bucks, they're really going at it. Like, and I was like, whoa, like I felt like a kid, but I mean, I was a kid, but I remember he would put Garrett up against him, and I felt bad for Garrett sometimes because he would get whooped like really bad. But the thing that was cool was that Garrett would always like keep going at it. Like he just never quit, even if it looked like he was about to cry.
I did cry.
Yeah, okay. It even looks like he was about to cry. Like there were times where I just saw like bruises on his body. Like Garrett would always get up. He would always get up. And it was like Rocky. It was awesome.
And let me let you know, I was never one to be shy away from an ass whooping.
Yeah. I was like, this guy can take pain, man. He can take a lot of pain.
Did you like Rocky a lot at this age?
Yeah.
Okay.
I listened to the Rocky soundtrack with the CD player and the
You sound like the same exact person at like, how old are you, 10?
anywhere between the age of 10 and 15, I was just like
exactly
10 to 16. Yeah, I know I still do that same shit all the time. Real quick, Luis is incredibly fast, flexible, and he got great endurance. Talk about the time we trained together, you and me, and you cried because you couldn't breathe.
I kicked you, I'm guessing. In the
No, he ran out of fucking oxygen. He got
Yeah.
too tired.
I don't remember it exactly.
It was you and me were the only one that showed up that day on practice.
There was one day, so Taekwondo was kind of like your usual schedule during the week, but on the weekends, Saturdays was like when serious people would show up. Like this is, and I remember they used to call it the Olympic team. I guess it was because we were going to compete with the intention of trying to get to the Olympics. So basically the Saturday practices started super early in the morning and went late until the afternoon, and they were intense. Like it was hard training, and
Talk
there
about
was.
the time you and me were the only ones who were there.
I think it was one day it was only Garrett and I that showed up, and I was kind of like shit, because I was like, one, these are hard already. Two, let alone there's only two of us, so that you can't hide behind anyone else.
The point is that when you do drills, you want more people to give you time to recover.
Yeah, so you can breathe, so you can actually like breathe.
Yeah.
And like you also kind of want somebody to kind of tap out a little bit earlier, so that way you can kind of like just chill for a second, and the attention won't be on you. But then in this particular class, it was just me and Garrett. And I was like, damn. And then on top of that, I was like, shoot, not only is it just me and Garrett, it's me and Garrett. I was like, it's Garrett. Garrett's the other. That's like showing up to practice, and then the only other person that showed up was like Kobe Bryant. So I was like, oh, damn it. I was like, this is going to be the toughest class ever.
And I remember, so the end of the class,
it was tough for you.
Oh yeah. This is definitely one of the hardest.
I wanted to pretend that I got sick. I remember. I wanted to find an excuse to not do it.
So we had something called target fighting.
Yeah.
You just kick, like nonstop.
Oh, like when they hit the pad, like
you just keep going. Just whatever.
No.
Just like.
oh, okay.
But kicking is way harder. And I said to Luis, man, this is gonna suck. I feel like the best thing I could do without being a pussy is let's go rock paper scissors.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. I lost. I mean, I won so Luis could go, and he cried.
I went first, yeah.
He just stopped breathing. He said, I can't breathe.
Well, I don't know what happened, but I went first, and I was like, oh, great. I have Garrett watching me. It's just me and the instructor. Like, we're in this big empty gym. Like, there's nowhere to run. Like, you're But it was looking back at it now, I was like, it was a very like good moment for
No,
me.
I kid you not. It was really hard.
But
like, I have not been. That might be the top 3 all-time fatigue.
I had a hard. I don't know if that was the practice where my nose started bleeding, because
No, I think you were in push-up position. I think this one
Yeah.
you just couldn't. You just
This
felt
one,
so tired
I
you
just,
cried.
I collapsed, like I fainted. I
was
don't know, my
holding-
little lungs couldn't take it.
Because you're kicking.
No, you just,
All of it,
doing
all of
everything.
it. It was like excessive, and this was like at a time where the instructor was allowed to hit you if he wanted to. He used to have a bamboo stick that he could hit you like in the back of the legs with it, on the bottom of the feet with it.
What about your ass? I got hit in the
You
ass
can
all the
hit,
time.
you can get hit in the butt with
Yeah, all
it,
the
like,
time.
and it hurts and it makes a noise. And he was pushing us like crazy. Now, looking back at it as an adult, I'm kind of like, all right, that was good. That made you tough.
awesome.
That made you strong. However, I kind of panicked a little bit because I was exhausted and I couldn't breathe. And like normally when you're tired, you inhale, you exhale, you inhale, you exhale, and you're just doing it aggressively because you're trying to catch your breath. I did the inhale, but like I couldn't exhale. And it was like I breathed in and I couldn't.
You had an asthma attack.
I couldn't exhale. Yeah, like literally, like do it right now. Like inhale, and then and then inhale again.
Yeah.
It felt like every time I tried to exhale, I couldn't, and I basically just straight up collapsed.
That was the one time I thought maybe I could faint. I was like, please.
Maybe I could.
Maybe
yeah.
I was.
He sounds
hoping.
like he's dying. But
If I'm lucky, I'll
Right.
die.
I was
How do you
tired
feel?
too.
How do you feel?
I told you it was top 3 fatigue of all time to this day.
describe it. Were you gagging like you do now?
Dude,
What is
it
it
was,
like?
okay, our hardest workouts.
He couldn't breathe. Yeah.
Our hardest workouts. But the person who's pushing me is not me. Someone who's bigger than me, and I'm intimidated.
Yeah, but how do you think I felt? Because both of you were bigger than me.
Do you think I care how you feel? I'm just trying.
At that moment-
I'm just trying to survive myself.
I'm
man.
saying, but at that moment, if you were the bigger kid,
you
and you were like,
you have better cardio than me.
and you were struggling,
Oh.
how do you feel if you were the smallest one in the room? That was me.
More scared.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, he's
was
bigger
ner-
than me.
I was nervous too. Let's go. Another memory. Side note, just this real quick story. You saw me break my arm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was right behind you when you broke it.
Yeah.
That was one of the first times I saw Garrett cry.
Someone broke his arm fighting.
No, me
No.
doing a drill.
We were doing a drill in Taekwondo,
And then you're like, get up. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I was like, I can't.
and you were like, yeah. I remember you were right in front of me. We were doing this really cool drill where they like hold your leg. and
He
it's
never
just,
did
like-
that drill after me again, by the way.
Yeah. Doing it. You're supposed to like kick your leg over the other leg. And I see Garrett go down. I'm thinking it's just a normal day. Or he fell.
He lands on his arm.
But I told you, like I said just a couple minutes ago, Garrett always got up. Always got up. So I was like, all right, he'll get up.
Yeah.
I was like, he'll get up. He'll be fine. Garrett did not get up this time. And I was like, Garrett, get up. Garrett, get up. I can't. And I was like, what? This is unheard
He
of.
said that calmly. I can't.
No, I was crying.
I don't remember,
Crying.
but I just remember
like, I
he
can't.
put his head down like this on the mat.
Sounds like Garrett.
And I said, get up, get up. And he said, I can't. And he had his head down. He goes, I can't. And I was like, what does he mean he can't? And then it became alarming. Like, then the alarm set in. And I was like, whoa, something's wrong. And then we were like, hey, Master Wu, something's wrong. And then it comes over. Garrett lifts his head up. He's crying.
No, I did not lift my head up. It kept on the ground.
No, I'm saying they like picked you up.
My arm was dislocated, and he put it back into place
Oh, so
while
you're
I was
fine.
on the ground.
You're fine.
I also fractured something,
Oh.
but he re-put into place this bone, and
See
but
that
the
scar?
chip of my elbow.
scar?
Yeah, the chip of my elbow broke off.
That's it.
That's a scar.
Yeah, but I had surgery,
Okay.
so it was a fracture and a dislocation, but nothing else, man. Funny. Let's go with the last story at Taekwondo. I'm gonna knock you down.
Yes.
Go
So
ahead, tell me that.
now, do you want me to tell like
Tell me what you
what
feel.
I believe, like
You
my
tell-
side of the
I don't know what to
story?
say.
So there was these two brothers, which
No,
I didn't
no,
actually.
No, not that. It's just you and me when I was kicking you, beating you up. Don't worry about
Oh.
David and Jonathan. I'm talking about you and me. Remember that? So
Okay.
you're proud of yourself.
I remember. Like I said before, Garrett was always kind of the bigger kid.
Rough.
He was always rougher. He always took it very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I had trained with him on several occasions, including some of the hardest trainings ever. I honestly thought about quitting Taekwondo after that. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This ain't even fun anymore. I was like, this ain't even fun. This is just like straight up like, this is punishment or something. But basically, there was one time where we were supposed to. I hated Wednesdays because Wednesdays were sparring days where you put on your sparring equipment and you're supposed to fight each other.
Mm-hmm.
I was always terrified of those days. That's not something I would ever have admitted out loud.
Yes, I did know this.
Yeah, but I did it anyway. But deep down inside, I was always like, I hate these days. I hate these days. I hate these days. But I made myself do them
Can I
anyway.
interject?
Yeah.
Look forward to these days all
Garrett
week
loved
long.
those days. I hated
Sparring?
those days.
Fighting.
I hated sparring.
He's still like.
And I fight hard.
Now, here's what I'll say. I'll
Yeah.
say. I think that I hated them because I was too good for the kids in my own
Weight class or
like
age?
height and age and all that stuff. So I had to fight bigger kids. And when I fought bigger kids, it
Got
hurt
hurt.
a lot.
Just when Edward know. When I say I loved it, every sparring session was like me versus Roger. Like I give it 100%. I just want you to know.
Okay.
So that's why when you see me practice, I'm like, what are all these pussies, man? Like they like complain I'm kicking them too hard.
People were tougher back then.
I don't know.
To you.
I don't know. Yeah, like
Okay.
you know how many times I offended someone because I was a little bit too rough. I'm like, I'm not even
You
trying.
had to leave gyms a couple times.
Yeah. So I went 100%
Yeah.
all the effing time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And I think
there
you
comes
feel-
a day, or mind you, from my perspective, I already dread these days. But I'm good enough to hold my own. But I'm more so fighting out of fear, really. Now, mind you, I heard this quote that says, "You fight the way you live," and I was like, "Oh, that's powerful."
What does that mean?
You
You
fight
fought
the way
fearfully.
you fight the way you live. Like, and I realized, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I was fighting out of fear a lot. And that's
Survival.
kind of how I was living my life at the time. Like, just personally, like my upbringing was always a little tumultuous, so that was always kind of like fearful. So I a lot of the things that I did was out of survival. That's a whole like separate thing, but basically, like, you fight the way you live. So I was always kind of fighting out of fear, like more kind of like, I'm scared, I don't want to get hurt, so I got to hurt you first. Garrett like loved it.
I'm trying to crash a car, and my body is the car, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to kill somebody.
So
Garrett
that's how you
wants
live your
to
life.
cause
No, I would do that.
damage, I guess. I don't know. No, I'm only saying, like, that was my reflection on how I felt about that. But basically, a lot of times I was scared to fight. But I did it anyway, and I felt very proud of myself, and I was like, dang, I did it. But on this one particular day, I got paired up with Garrett, and I was like, damn it. I was like, oh, boy. And I was scared, but I was like, I'm like, I always fight scared, so whatever, I'm going to do it anyway. But then Garrett comes up to me, and like it's like he just flipped the switch and he wanted to kill me or something. And he comes up to me, towers over me, looks me right in the face, kind of like what is it, the Michael Jordan documentary where he goes, "It's personal."
It's personal.
It's like we weren't friends anymore. And he
I
just
would
came
break
up
you,
to
that's what he
me
did.
and he just said, "I'm gonna knock you down." And I was like, I was scared, but then I was like, you know what? I was like, fuck this guy.
I'm gonna go all out.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, all right, let's go. I was like, all right. I was like, forget this guy. So, I mean, when I say he kicked my ass, he whooped my ass. However, what I will say,
I actually stopped because I felt bad. So
Yeah.
let me interrupt. So when I fought Shiny, that was like 60% of me. So when I fought Luis that time, he's smaller, and I'm a little bit more aggressive. I'd say about 85%. So that's pretty
Luis
bad.
Luis is good.
He didn't.
I
I beat him
took a
pretty
really
good.
good ass whooping. Yeah.
Any more harder, I feel like they would stop it.
But mind you, get this. So what did I always said about Garrett is I say he always gets back up. He always gets back up. But this time Garrett told me I'm gonna knock you down, and I said, you know what? Garrett may always get back up, but Garrett's not gonna knock me down. So he whooped my ass, and it really hurt, and I had bruises on my arms for days after that. But he never actually knocked me down. I never actually went down to the ground.
when
Now my intestines were like bursted inside of my body. I was like,
So
I couldn't breathe
I
again.
want to rehash this because I remember vividly. My dad picked us up, you and me, and you go in the back of the car like a chopper from a war. I didn't get knocked down, Gary. I was like, you did. You did a good job.
Yeah.
It was just like that. Like you're like,
Yeah.
I did it right. I think that's it.
And then I went home and I
we were like,
cried.
Just a side note, like when I talk about kickboxing, and I'm not lying, I feel zero pain. Like maybe 1%.
I don't look like that.
I feel fatigue. Fatigue is not pain.
Okay.
But in terms of physical pain, no.
Yeah.
Like I feel no pain.
Did Luis hurt you that day?
No, that never know.
No, of course not.
But with Taekwondo, we're talking like on average, like 40%, 50% pain. Like, and I'm telling you, my kickboxing matches, maybe 1%. So it was a very intense. I fought really hard, and it fucking hurt. Like when you get hit. Now I'm not like here to say like I need to go hospital, but it was a lot of bruises on my body, And let's just say, remember that time I took off? I just let the dude kick me for like 5 minutes till he gassed out.
Yeah, I saw your bruises
Yeah.
right after.
Tell me what percentage. It's like 2% pain.
Out of 100?
Yeah,
2%.
2-3%. Like
Your body was bruised up, man.
Yeah, but when I did Taekwondo, I'm telling you, it was like fighting, it's like 40-50%.
I almost didn't go to school the next day.
All right. Well, anyways,
Literally, I was
side
in
note,
pain.
had a great time
It
with
hurt.
Luis doing Taekwondo.
Yeah.
That I think you understand why I'm the way I am a little bit now.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I said this in my vow renewal, and I want to find the freaking thing. I should have found it before this, but in my Garrett and May's 5-year wedding vow renewal, in my speech, I said Garrett is a pusher. He's
Yes.
a pusher. He will push you outside of your comfort zone, and you will hate him for it, but you will like eventually thank him for it. And I feel like
Nice.
I like like that I would say that was my experience with Garrett. I mean, just throughout our entire lives, I felt like that. But I think in our childhood, looking back
A little
at
more.
it, yeah, like it was always like borderline competitive, but it was also always like I was always being pushed out of my comfort zone, and I hated it. Because I will say when I was kind of younger, I think that I was only strong because I like needed to be. But deep down inside, I was like a huge pussy. Like I think I was a huge wimp on the inside. And so like I said, I was always kind of like fearful. So honestly, sometimes I'd be scared to hang out with Garrett, even as like friends, like for him to come to my house to hang out, whether he wanted to wrestle, whether we were playing in the woods.
You're the one that almost broke my damn neck.
That's
I wanna hear
because
Let's go. We'll go to that later. We'll go to high
okay,
school.
but basically, like Garrett would always like push me outside of my comfort zone. So like if we were playing out in the snow, he would want to like snowball fight. He would want to wrestle. He would want to like sled. Like he would want to jump off of things. He would want to jump. Oh, I'm gonna try to jump from here to there. Oh, you think I could jump from? You think I can make it from here to there? Like
Let me hear Edward.
I was like, this dude,
That's how
he doesn't care about his body. Like he doesn't.
Hey, that's why my back is hurting right now.
Yeah.
I took a pill with alcohol.
You're paying the price. For it.
He's like, Luis, hold this ice. I'm gonna try to break it with my shins. Like,
We were just watching him do that on video.
yeah, I was like, dude, what the hell? Like, I don't want to do any of this. But he's like, you do it. Come on, you do it. You try. Okay, now you jump. Now you do. And I remember my parents used to tell me, don't do everything Garrett says to do because he just wants to see you get hurt. That he thinks it's funny to see you get hurt.
Is this you and him, or you and him and some other people?
Me and
Don't
Garrett.
matter.
It's just me and
I'm
Garrett.
like that all the time,
Even
man.
when there were other people, like other people were just like they were like cameos of other people in our friendship, but it was always like me and Garrett. And even though my parents my parents love Garrett, and they always liked that I was friends with him.
problems, man. I got problems.
But they were like, don't do everything Garrett says because Garrett never had like he never showed up wearing like nice clothes. His shoes were always all busted up. He was he was like the kid that if your parents wouldn't let you go out with him wearing nice stuff because it's gonna come back all muddy or ripped or messed up.
Hey, man, I just busted my
broken.
pants the other day.
Yeah. And so they said, don't do everything Garrett tells you to do, or don't try to do everything Garrett does because, that's
Hey,
good.
let me interrupt
That's
you real
his
quick.
problem.
Edward, tell him what happened the other day.
Is it a week ago?
Yeah.
A week ago, Garrett bought new Levi's cargo pants, and then
Like $70.
$70 pants.
This is the one you were telling me about the other
A
day?
few days later, we're playing in the park, and he
He rips
gets a
them.
hole in
Exactly.
In the butt.
I know.
No, I fell off the thing. I hit my.
Yeah,
my
but
butt-
you
I hit my-
ruin your clothes.
I hit my butthole on the ground and it went into my
Oh.
butthole, ripped my pants.
Pull the
It's a
dozy.
short life.
Yes, yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So-
yeah. So
What are we talking about? We're just talking about.
we're no.
He's
You
describing you.
you were saying earlier.
I'm a pusher.
That you're a pusher. Yeah.
You were
Well, no,
saying
I
that.
was saying that you push. So in Taekwondo, that's how that played itself out. But then even in our friendship as friends, like as kids, going outside to play was just like,
What's going to happen?
what's gonna happen? He's gonna push me to do something. But the thing is, here's the thing that I would say, reflecting back on it, I was terrified, but something inside of me felt like I needed to do it. Like I needed to like listen to this guy.
You know, I did it on purpose because I thought you were a little bit of
A sissy.
A little bit sissy, yeah.
Yeah, I was scared. I was always like kind of scared. Yeah.
But the great thing is, I never said to Luis, "Come on, man, why don't you do those drugs?"
Yeah.
I'm always doing like physical things. I'm never like, "Hey, let's do drugs," or something.
Or just like randomly like, hey, let's just run there. Come on, let's run. And then he'll just start running.
Let's just run. I don't know.
Yeah. Or oh, hey, let's just try to stand outside with our shirts off, in the winter, like to see how much cold we can take. Like stupid stuff. But the thing is, like, what I liked, I loved and feared my friendship with Garrett because. What I was scared about it was because I knew I was going to be pushed to do stuff I didn't want to do, or that I didn't think, or that I didn't want to do, or didn't think I could do. But what I loved about it was that I did them, and it's not just because I did them, but because he like pushed me to do them, not like in a peer pressure like negative kind of way, but in like a encourager.
Like, hey man, let's.
Like, come on, man, let's go. Come on, man, let's do this. Like rah rah, like let's do this, like command, like camaraderie type stuff. And it made me feel strong. It made me feel powerful. And like I always liked it when Garrett was like, "You got this, you could do it." Because I always, was like, "Oh, Garrett, you're a tough guy." He's a tough guy. I saw him in Taekwondo, this and like that. And I was like, he could take pain. So if he says that you can do it, or that if this guy believes in me, then I must, be able to do it. And I guess when I was younger, that was a big deal to me. Like it was cool. It was like having your big brother let you in on the club. Like he lets you be in part of the club.
Do you empathize with Luis Edward? Do you feel the same way?
It's the exact same thing. You might as well describe him now.
No, man, dude. No. I was probably a little bit more. My testosterone was raging.
Well, yeah, this was like puberty.
No, I don't push you, Edward. I'm like, come on, man, why don't you study?
But you do outdoors things, and you like to be in the cold.
I do it to myself. I don't tell you take off your shirt and run.
That's true.
But I did say let's run 15 miles.
Yeah. Similarities. Did you find yourself viewing yourself as tougher after hanging out with Garrett more?
Yeah, reluctantly, but yeah, like.
So you liked it.
One time I got these brand new pair of white shoes.
Air Force Ones?
No, Sauconys. It was back when Sauconys were cool, and basically I got these brand new pair of white shoes. I was always kind of a pretty boy, especially like going into my teenage years. I kind of started wanting to dress.
I like pretty boys.
I kind of wanted to start dressing cooler. I wanted to gel my hair.
Can I use the word? You like to be a little preppy.
I guess, yeah. I don't know about preppy, but I just wanted to like look cool. Like I wanted to feel cool. And common. I had these cool white shoes that I liked, and I made the mistake of one day wearing them to go hang out with Garrett.
What'd you do?
Got them all muddy.
Garrett was like,
I know what it was.
Garrett was like, let's go see this like abandoned building or something like that.
No, it was under construction.
Yeah, it was like this building that was under construction. Which, mind you, like looking back at it now, that's so dangerous. Like,
I think
it was a construction site, and he was like, "Yeah, let's go explore. Let's go see how the building looks like from the inside before it's built." Blah blah.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, "But I know a shortcut." And I'm like,
through
okay. And the shortcut was through the woods. And I had to step in the mud, this and that. And he was like, "Come on, man, they're just shoes. They're just shoes. They're just shoes." But I was
sounds like Tommy, right?
I was so mad because I was like,
you were talking to Tommy.
Yeah, he's talking
these
like
are
Tommy.
my brand new white Taconis. Like, no. But he was like, they're just shoes, man. They're just shoes.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I guess the thing that I also didn't like about Garrett very much was, and I'm saying this from
it's true.
I'm saying this from a loving place, but the thing that I didn't like about him was that hanging out with Garrett made me feel exposed. Like I cared about and there's nothing wrong with like liking your shoes. Yeah, like there's nothing wrong with. I should have just not wore the white shoes like to go outside and play.
You should wear barefoot like it.
Yeah, but like I guess it's like hanging out with Garrett made me feel like
vulnerable.
Like I needed to be like raw, like I needed to be exposed. And there's nothing wrong with liking your new shoes, nothing wrong with keeping your new shoes clean, and then there's a place and a time. But then like realizing like why do I care about these damn shoes so much? Like they are just shoes at the end of the day. Like it just kind of stripped away all these other things that I would think. And so like I don't know, it just always kind of felt like when I went home, it always felt like there was something to think about.
Just want you to know this is gonna be a long interview, and I'm good with that.
Quick question.
Let you know
What
I'm
shoes
good.
are you wearing today?
What shoes am I wearing now?
Yeah, let's see.
Wanna go outside?
Oh, like today? Like what
Yeah,
did I wear
yeah.
today?
Uh-huh.
I wore a pair of Hoka's.
What's that? Oh,
They're like walking shoes.
You have those, Garrett. Yeah.
I did because my back is
Yeah.
asked. I don't buy it for fun now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I had like a pair of walking shoes.
Side note, Luis, I totally concur with everything he says, and my thought is that
Well, what was your perception?
I always felt that
Like, from
because
your
I wanted to
side.
be your friend, I felt like you needed to be. I always looked at you like, come on, man, stop being a pussy, stop being so superficial, and so it was intentional.
Now, mind you, my dad worked on a construction site for pretty much his entire life, and he was like the safety supervisor.
He's very,
So my dad was all like at home in our own personal life was always very like watch out for this, watch out for that. You know,
Interesting.
if you go on a playground, watch for nails, blah blah. Like he was always very like particular about safety.
Yeah.
And when I hung out with Garrett, I would hear my dad's voice in my head, watch out for this, watch out for that, blah blah, this and that. But Garrett would just like disregard all of that. Like
no, I'm not.
I'm gonna jump from here to there.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna do what I saw in that Jackie Chan movie.
Yes.
You know, oh, Jackie Chan did it. I'm gonna do like Garrett was just kind of very
Parkour,
like
basically.
Parkour, yeah.
he was very like carefree, very like I'm just gonna do whatever. But I think that a big part of me was like I want to be like that. Like I want to stop being so afraid all the time.
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to jump off of stuff and just like, you know, be like when Garrett broke his arm. I mean, he didn't like it initially or whatever, but when you broke your arm, like, and we went to go visit you at your house, like you were fine. Like you were just kind of like, man, I can't wait to get this stupid thing off.
I can't wait to go fight again.
Yeah, I can't wait to go fight again, man. I want to get this thing off, like blah blah, you know. And I was just kind of like, damn, like
I was playing Tekken.
I want to be like fearless like that. Like I want to be like my body doesn't matter. You know, like that's
You
what
see
it,
him now? That's-
yeah. Well, it matters now, and I'm perfectly in good health. So
Good for you, Luis.
yeah.
I wrote some checks my body couldn't.
I guess what I'll say is, yeah, that's my experience in my childhood with Garrett. He was kind of like the big brother who was never scared of anything, and like he was like the big brother that I wanted to be like.
I like it. Yeah, go ahead.
I like that part. You said hanging out with Garrett exposes you, or it makes you look at yourself differently.
Yeah. Okay.
Or it challenged me.
That's
Like yeah,
good.
it made me realize that I was being such a baby sometimes.
Same here. I
You
realized that I don't like being pushed.
Yeah, I didn't like being pushed. I
It's
wanted to stay
interesting.
comfy. I wanted to stay nice and comfy.
I mean, that's why you fat and sweating when you
Yeah,
sleep.
yeah.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like
Fat shamed a few times.
yeah, I got fat shamed a few times.
You were fat?
Yes, you
Yeah,
were.
I would say I'm fat.
Before
Yes, I would
ROTC.
say I'm fat.
Because you made a turnaround.
I've fluctuated.
Yeah.
In
All right, let me
fatness throughout
jump
my
in
years.
before we change. We don't. Any thoughts, Edward? Any questions?
Any questions?
I concur with everything you said. I'm exactly as you pictured. I don't. Yes.
It's really easy to picture how you were. So your dad made you that way?
I don't know. I was born this way.
You're really different.
don't
I was born a little more wild in
You're
terms
very-
of the
you're
physical
really
activity. Yeah, I always wanted to be tough, and based on what
you're
Louis-
not superficial, but that's natural. I thought,
Yeah.
cause meeting you like when I met you, 18 years old, I thought like you were like that because you're Christian.
I was never that way.
Fun fact: I actually became a Christian before Garrett did.
Oh,
Fun.
Did you? I got Christian 2006 July.
yeah.
I was.
We'll get to that conversion later.
Yeah, I thought you didn't care about like your clothes and stuff for your cars. Like that's a Christian thing, but I guess this is you Christian.
No,
now.
he was always like that. Like he
That's
was
good,
always
though.
he was always kind of like this like little cowboy. Like
I
he just-
respect that.
Yeah.
Let's go back. Let's go to a fun time. I dated your sister.
Let's talk about it. Okay,
This
so
was awesome, by the way.
Is that the next
So-
part? Next
yeah.
chapter?
this was all this
Eighth grade.
all the time that we spent in Taekwondo. My sister was also in Taekwondo with us. All the time that we hung out there. I mean, as a young teenage girl, it's kind of hard to look at this tall, handsome young man who can fight and, you know, be rough and carefree like that and not like him. So then my sister got to liking him.
I got to liking her.
Well, he got to liking her too.
By
Your
watch-
sister, your
by
sister,
watching
your
him fight
sister
one.
Well,
had,
it was just all of our experiences in Taekwondo. Plus, like
your
you know,
sister had a lot of guys going for her.
Yeah.
So I'm not special, but for me, having her, oh god.
yeah, my sister was like the girl in the like one. There weren't a lot of girls to begin with, but two, she was kind of like
She was great, by the way, in Taekwondo.
Yeah,
she was really good.
she was really good.
She's
and
sweet. She was
Oh.
sweet. She had a little temper.
She was nice. Yeah,
sweet.
And this was like before life really got to her, but
God, man, I see Khaled. I see like a lot of people. I see like these characteristics now. I kind of overlap. She had a little bit of fire. Khaled had a little bit of fire to her. Evelyn. Yeah, she was a sweet girl, but a little bit of a
my sister.
kick to her.
Yeah, she had a little pizzazz.
Yeah, she
But
did definitely.
she got to
She had
Garrett.
more later, but
Garrett got to liking
Yeah.
my sister, and my sister got to liking Garrett. I don't know if you guys were already dating, but I think we went to this like Taekwondo summer camp
that's when I fell in love with her.
in Nags Head.
I fell in love with her. That was
We went to Nags Head, North Carolina for this like Taekwondo boot camp.
That was one of the hardest things I'd done was when we don't want to belabor it too much, but they made us run up and down sand dunes doing kicks and stuff, and that sucked.
And they did this thing where we basically like kind of drowned ourselves in the
Yeah,
ocean.
yeah. I seen them Navy SEALs. I seen Navy SEALs.
Yeah, it's
You
literally
put
like
your
the
hands
Na-
behind your bed head, and you form a tripod with your head in sand,
And then
like
you
this,
put your
and then
head
the water
upside
comes in
down.
and you just take it.
And then they were like, "This is good for your lungs."
This is
Like,
Taekwondo.
yeah, I was. When I look back at it now, there's a lot of things that happened that I was like, these should have not happened.
Let's just say I embraced all of these things.
Garrett loved it, but that was.
bet.
I think I just saw my sister and Garrett kind of, finagling more and more. They just kind of were always talking. It was kind of, you stop, shut up.
it was beautiful.
Pushing each other, kind like puppy love
You
type
didn't
stuff.
mind it at all?
I will say
At first, the very first, you're
there
like,
was a
"What?"
lot of boys that liked my sister that I didn't like, but I was kind of cool with Garrett because I saw that what he could do. Like I was like, okay, he's a cool guy. Like he was already kind of like a big brother to
There's
me.
one
so.
thing Luis didn't say that I think is relevant. The one thing I think that Luis put up with me was because he knew I was a good person at heart. Generally I had good intentions. Am I correct or?
Yeah, overall, I think
Like I always was kind. I would always like protective of you. I
think
would pay for things, right?
yeah, I think he was very selfless. Like when we would, what I really liked about Garrett also growing up was that he would buy me stuff. He would always take me out to eat. When we would go out.
You're like
he-
2 years older and you're treating him like a kid?
yeah. Well, he was like a big brother.
He's generous.
He was like a big brother.
It's a big deal when they're 2 years older. Like when 12 and 10 is big, or 13 and 11, 14 and 12.
Yeah.
So I think I made you feel cared
we went
for.
to Tippy's Taco House.
And a side note, I wasn't always tough. There, we would have a lot of fun when I wasn't being tough. Like we watched scary movies together, and it would be very innocent, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of downtime.
So
where
I wasn't like that all the time.
correct.
So Garrett's a good person.
Overall, I was like, yeah, Garrett's a good guy. So when he
Slow.
started liking my sister and my sister started liking him, I thought this is cool.
That reminds me of my sister. She dated one of my friends in high school, but it was a bad friend that I didn't like. And yeah, I was not happy that she got into that relationship. But if she dated one of my good friends, someone who I trusted, I think I would have been okay with it too.
If you're listening, darling, he's talking about Tommy.
Your sister didn't tell me.
No, she dated someone else.
Kidding.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. So when they started liking each other and dating, I didn't mind it. And I did think, okay, well, if Garrett really breaks my sister's heart or something,
Don't worry.
Then I'm
not the heartbreaker.
I'm gonna have to kill this guy. And I don't know if I can, but I will.
I'm usually the one who is loyal, more so.
I would say those were some of the fun, the most fun times ever.
Had a great time. That's how I got closer with Luis. So actually, I was closer with his sister at first, but after they broke up, I was like, should I still be friends with Luis? And I was like,
You mean after you broke up?
with Carolina. And
They.
after we broke up, but yeah, but I think you know what's the funny thing is, you liked me so much, and I'm not here to make you sound like a fanboy, but I think there was enough appreciation for me that after we broke up, you almost felt like you sided with me in some ways. Is that fair? Like you sympathize with me.
So I'm just sharing. Yeah, it might sound like I was like a fanboy, but I mean, I'm just sharing my side of the story. Obviously, there must have been things that you liked about me too.
Of course, I mean, I love us hanging out together. Correct? Us three.
Okay.
Yeah, you, me, and your sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love us being together.
Well, I think there was a lot of fun. There was, like I said, it was like having a big brother. And then when you and my sister broke up,
Party over.
and Garrett came over to my house one day, I remember I don't know what I was doing. I think I was like upstairs in my room playing PlayStation or something. And Garrett was like, "Hey, I'm coming over." And I was like, "Okay." And he came over and he just came upstairs to my room. And I thought he was going to grab a controller and we were going to sit there and play some
Sounds so
Tekken.
funny.
Did you start crying?
And he just crawled into my bed.
All right.
And just, I don't know, were you crying?
He's probably feeling depressed.
I think so, yeah. But he looked really down. Like, he looked really sad. And he just walked up to my room, crawled into my bed, put the covers over his head, and he just didn't want to play. And I was like, what? I was like, hold the phone. What is this? Now, mind you, this is what I gathered starting at that moment, looking back at it. This guy may be able to take all sorts of pain physically, but emotionally, I was like, now this guy, I was like, here's the yin to my yang. I was like, because I told you, I grew up in like a very crazy kind of like situation. Like, I grew up like, I was happy like as a child, but there were some crazy times. I grew up with a father who was an alcoholic. There was a lot of, very what's the word I'm looking for? Instability. Yeah, there's a lot of like instability in the home, and I really had to learn how to. Are we okay?
We're good. I'm just checking the battery.
Yep. Okay. I really had to learn how to survive. I really had to learn how to become a chameleon. I really had to learn how to like just self-soothe and self-regulate. I had to kind of learn how to talk to myself. So when I saw Garrett come in,
Pussy.
and I was like, this guy's not getting up. I was like,
You know what happened? Even though you didn't say anything?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Can I let you know, Luis? I loved it when you made fun of me. Like, it felt like it was fun for me because I knew that I was being a pussy, and for you to kind of jab me is like, I accept it as like I deserve it.
Yeah.
And I never resented. I mean, I know you didn't do a lot, but did you ever feel like I resented you for anything? Like I was always a good sport, right?
Yeah, you always kind of. It almost kind of cheered you up a little.
Yeah. I like you making fun
To
of
be
me.
able to poke fun at it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Garrett came to my house, crawled under my covers. I don't remember if he was crying or not. But
No, I wasn't crying.
But he just didn't want to do anything, and I was like, why is he even here?
So I can smell your sister.
I was
man.
like, why did he even come here? And I realized, I think he wanted to maybe just mope around my sister a little bit. And two, I think he just wanted like company.
Of course I did.
He wanted that back rub.
I don't know.
When we were in high school, I broke up with your sister in beginning of 9th grade. It was tough time for me. My parents got divorced. I lived in my mom's apartment and just fighting all the time. I was just very immature. I had no friends in high school. So, yeah, you were my friend. And, I needed you. Sad to say, you were 7th grade and 9th grade. And I remember I came over the first time, and we watched the dumbass movie Pokemon Mew.
Yep, I remember.
And, I was like, you know what? Maybe I can still be friends with Luis. Maybe I can.
Well, it was scary because I was like, oh no, Garrett and my sister are not dating anymore. Does that mean we can't be friends anymore? But I wanted to keep being friends with Garrett.
Yeah, Garrett's cool.
Yeah, I was like, Garrett's cool.
Like, your dad didn't have anything.
Plus,
against him.
my dad was the one who told Garrett he needed to break up with my sister, and that was they were young. I think how old are you? Like 14?
8th grade going to 9th grade.
8th going into 9th, so like 13 going into 14 years old maybe.
Yeah.
They were very, very absorbed in their relationship.
Self-indulgent.
Yeah, they were very absorbed in it. They were very they were happy, but the thing was,
How long was the relationship again?
About a year on and off.
Year on and
But
off.
solid, like, last
they were very, very happy.
solid 5
And it
months.
was great to see them so happy. But
Yeah, it was an
the
idol.
problem was it was my sister, that's all she cared about.
Don't
Like,
worry. If it makes you feel any better, so did I.
Yeah, well, her grades were slipping. All she wanted to do was just, be a girlfriend, and all he wanted to do was be a boyfriend.
Man, that sounds so fucking sweet. I like that.
They weren't really caring about anything else.
No, I'm Asian. I still
I'm talking about my sister. That's
no,
why
no,
my
but
dad.
listen,
That's why my dad instinctively was like,
I-
nope, she
and
needs
I-
to get out
and
of
there's
this
nothing wrong for your
relationship.
father. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
for
he
his
did.
father.
Yeah, he did what he was supposed to do.
But the
And
problem is your sister started dating other guys anyways.
And after.
but that was
It was too late.
that was also because like that's when she really started having a bad relationship with my dad
Yeah,
too.
I know, yeah. No
So
worries, we want to talk about that.
she
After
was
Garrett?
like she was already she kind of started going down the wrong path after that, and yeah, it was just like that's when my sister's life kind of started going a different direction. But my dad was like,
She lost her wholesomeness a little bit. The
Yeah.
remaining part of her wholesomeness.
yeah, my dad told Garrett that this relationship was not it wasn't the best time for them to be so absorbed in a relationship, and that maybe they could revisit it later.
I will tell you one thing. I will say, looking back, I think your dad liked me.
Absolutely.
Now he didn't like everything, and that's fine. I don't. Accept
Yeah, but
it.
you were like 14.
I know. So I think that your dad actually, in some ways, felt guilty. So he still wanted. He tried to
Yeah.
offer an olive branch, but like.
Yeah, well, he
Well-
said just maybe not right now.
So I felt that I never felt like your dad was against me. So.
But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Now that you are the age that you are and that you have spoken into the lives of young people, do you think my dad did the right thing?
I just said it 100% responsibly. I said he was being
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
But let's just say this.
that's where he was
it
coming
felt
from.
good. Feels good. Do it, guys. If you're listening.
What?
What feels good?
Being in love.
Oh, okay.
Well, it felt
You said
good.
it feels good doing it. I'm like, what? I don't want to know this.
It felt pretty damn good to be in love. I mean, it is the best effing.
It was
feeling.
it's puppy love, you know.
Oh, no
it's
wonder.
kind of
I
like,
want that
it's
in
the
a bottle.
first time I ever feel love. But yeah, they broke up. Anyways,
It made me depressed bad,
But-
but not as much as.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy, dog.
so then my
Because that one lasted like 2. That hurts.
my
To this day.
This dude.
I'm not kidding.
So that was the first time I really ever saw. I was like, "Wow, Garrett is down and not getting up." And I was like, "He is struggling," and so that's when I was like, "Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe he's not as tough in this area as I am." So that's when I was like, "Okay, I gotta be strong for him," you know.
Now you're wondering, like, hey, do you want to go get some pizza?
Yeah, well, yeah. I just
That's good.
I
But
was,
my
yeah,
point is, I don't know
trying
if
to-
it's strong. I'm just a fun dude. Like, just milk it.
Yeah, I was just trying to be a buddy, you know. I
you're a
started
buddy.
being goofy. I started acting stupid, you know, being a clown, kind of making them laugh. You know, let's go
You're
outside.
always funny.
Let's go outside and play.
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
go do this. Let's go
Yeah.
get pizza.
Side note, so when I was in high school, I was a loser. I never claimed to be an awesome person. I just say I work hard. And I would walk to Luis's house from my house. And that's a metro stop away. Being into Dunmore, that's like 2 over... maybe like 2.5 miles.
This was before Uber.
2.5 miles. So, and one time I was in the snow and I jogged there. It took me 45 minutes to jog there. So I felt like I was always a good friend, but also the sad fact was I didn't have many. So it was that kind of relationship. I value you because you're a good guy, but also I had no other choice. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's jump ahead. We go to college. We hung out. We had a little fun. Just a quick pit stop. We
High school, we didn't really.
it's just all nonsense.
Yeah, nothing major. There were no Hallmark.
I'm about to jump about my major hallmark.
Okay.
Filmed a couple movies together. Pretty badass.
Oh, the movie?
Price of Vengeance was pretty fun.
Yes.
We saw 3
So-
a couple days ago.
Funny story about that
Yeah.
was, our family computer was acting up, so my dad took our computer to Micro Center. No, it's Micro Center.
We took it to Justin.
No, I'm kidding. We took it to this place called Micro Center to get it kind of looked at and diagnosed and all that. And while I was there, trying to kill time, I saw this computer software, and I think it was called Pinnacle.
Pinnacle.
It had a beautiful looking person on
Yeah,
the cover.
beautiful
she was
woman
gorgeous.
on it. Yeah.
What's Pinnacle?
It's a video editing.
It was a
software.
video editing software. I started looking at the box while I was bored, and it was like, edit your own movies, like make your home videos cool, like star
Now
transitions.
we had done this before, so we made like Blair Witch. We had a little fun
No, but those didn't have like
editing,
editing.
but we
yeah.
did do fun things on the camera.
That
That's
was
all I'm
just
saying.
like action, and then you do something, and then
There's
if
no
you
cutting,
mess
there's no
up,
editing.
it was just like, okay, let's run the scene again.
Yeah.
And we tried to make a little mini movie out of that, but you know,
funny.
when I saw this, I thought, we could really up our movie making skills with this, because now I can edit out the mistakes. I can fade in, I can fade out.
Transitions.
I can put music. This will be dope. I remember
was.
the software was $100, which, mind you, this was a lot of money back then.
Yes.
And I asked my dad, can I please like have this software? And he's like, that's $100, son. And I was like, I promise I'll use it, blah, blah, this and that.
And we sure did.
So he said, all right, if you promise to use it, I have to see like what you're going to make with it.
Yeah, I was about to ask, did your dad watch what you made?
Absolutely.
He's like, hell yeah.
No, so there's an even cooler story in that. So I said, okay, but he said, okay, well, I'm gonna let you borrow the family camera. You can go ahead and, film your videos, whatever, but, just be careful with it. And I remember I was filming a lot, and I had the camera with me. This was before like cell phones, you could videotape.
This is like
These are
2002.
big handheld cameras, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, almost like that,
Was
yeah.
it really big? No, one hand.
Yeah, it was one hand, but basically, one day we were bored, and I was like, we need to film a movie. I want to do something with this. Garrett instinctively was like, kung fu movie.
Of course.
It has to have fighting in it. We have to jump off building. Jackie Chan.
Everything I like.
I could do stunts. This and that, blah, blah, this and that. And then from that, Price of Vengeance was born. Funny story about while we were filming Price of Vengeance was the camera actually rolled off of the tripod while filming and broke.
Garrett mentioned the camera broke like
Number 2.
one of those.
That was Price of Vengeance 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we did Price of Vengeance 1. I showed my dad. He loved it. And when I told him that, we're going to film a second one, he was, oh, I can't wait to see it. We've started filming the second one. The second one was in production. The camera
First scene.
Camera breaks. Mm-hmm. I go home. I tell my dad.
Scared.
The camera was broken.
How mad was he?
Surprisingly, he goes, it's okay. Let's just go get another one so you can finish your movie.
Awesome, Dad.
Yeah, he was really happy
he
about
put it on the thing.
Yeah, on the tripod.
But it wasn't screwed in, so it was like it wobbled.
No, that's how it broke.
Yeah,
And then
I was
it fell
supposed to.
off
I was
it.
supposed to.
And then
I was
we
supposed to
watched it.
tighten
It fell. Oh, whew. And then it rolled off. Oh, and it rolled off. Whew. And then rolled into the water. We
it was
watched
like
it.
this, and then it tilted like that,
Slowly.
and we were like, whew, and then it went, and we were like, damn it, and then it rolled off the bridge.
No, it rolled into the pile of rocks.
Oh,
and
it
then
rolled. Yeah.
And then from the rocks, it rolled
it went
into the
a creek. Yeah, and
But
it was
like 4 different.
Yeah,
Falls.
it was like 4 different like phases to the.
And we watched every
disappointment.
single one.
We were like, wow. And so we ended up getting a new camera, thankfully, and Price of Vengeance 2 was born.
Did he like the second and third?
He loved them. He loved them all. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Loved them all.
So
I still think we should do a reboot. We should do a Price
I
of
was
Vengeance
telling Garrett
reboot
that too, man.
or something like that.
But
Something.
you don't have the skills.
We got a
dude.
Vietnamese person.
No, we got to
got
find
another-
some kind of way to like revamp it.
Yeah, but I can still do most.
It's
of
funny. There's actually an audition video out there of Everett auditioning
Now, wait,
for
wait,
Price
what?
of Vengeance.
it. Let me see this punch. Let me see the
Yeah.
punches. That's the one I put my coach.
Limdoy. Yep.
Yeah.
There was
Oh,
we
that's the
said
audition video.
or we said we want you to audition for Price of Vengeance, and he wanted to be in it so bad.
All right, let's
But,
talk
yeah.
about college. We go to 2 different paths. I go to University of Maryland. I go to George Mason, and I think it was hardest. I mean,
I did go to University of Maryland for a little bit.
TC.
Yep, but then I would get to see Garrett sometimes
Yeah.
on campus.
But the truth was this, as you understand, I'm a great friend. When I say great friend, I'm not saying I'm a great person. I respect friendship.
Yes.
And I would always make the effort to stay in touch with Luis. Is that fair?
That's true.
But as we got older, it was harder and harder because of geography.
Geography.
So I always,
Because he went to George Mason
and he wasn't Christian.
and he wasn't Christian.
But
But oh wait, I thought Luis just said he became a Christian before you.
I know.
I thought I did.
I don't know. I'm just saying I became a Christian. But my point is
Or I
that
think you didn't profess to be a Christian till after.
so there was a little bit of like a gulf because I was
yeah, in
a
college.
Christian and then he wasn't necessarily.
Or you were exploring Christian.
He wasn't initially interested.
Yeah, I didn't care.
So tell me about.
that would
and
have
this-
been the
actually,
break.
This is a bigger picture. Your introduction into Chinese Community Church, Christianity,
I feel like I
what
started
you-
going with you in high school.
vaguely.
I was like 16. I was like a junior or senior.
You're senior.
But I only went
'Cause
to hang out.
Yeah, because you like that group. Try.
Well, I went because I was friends with you.
Yeah, I know, and that's fair. So, but look, anything you remember, this whole Christian phase of.
I
introduction?
remember that in high school, Garrett, one, taught me how to ride the metro. He taught me how to ride the metro, and the reason he taught me how to ride the metro was either to get to Springfield Mall or to
Taekwondo.
get to he taught me to get to Springfield Mall, which was like where Taekwondo was, and also to go to meet him at church in DC. And Garrett told me about this cool group that he was hanging out with. It was called the Ryan Program.
Shout out to Ryan.
Shout out
Robin,
Ryan and the Say brothers. Shout out Matthew. Shout out Robin. He said
Ryan's the older brother.
Ryan is the oldest, and then there's Matthew, and then there's Robin. Right? They're like
Robin's middle.
Oh, okay, they're like Ninja Turtles, but basically like they're like a bunch of cool brothers. Well, basically, Garrett told me about this new crew that he was like hanging out with. Just so happened to be with like a church group. I didn't care for church at the time. I had too much going on in my life. Where at the time, if you had asked me, Luis, what do you believe in? I would have been like, I hate
devil.
God. I believe in like that God sucks. I hate God. Like blah blah. Like too much crap going on in my family, and I was like, God doesn't exist. God doesn't care.
I've been there.
And so Garrett was like, hey, come hang out with me and this group. Like, it's just a bunch of cool young people. Never really, like, proselytized his faith or anything like that. He wasn't like, oh, come be a Christian. He just kind of invited me to come hang out. And I think a big part of that, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but that was one, to maintain the friendship. But two, you wanted to connect me to, like, people that you were connected with, because you always liked when your friends were friends.
I thought you would have fun.
Yeah, like you were like, oh, this is a good way to stay in touch with Luis.
Create community.
Yeah, and then this would also be a cool way for him to like be a part of what I'm being a part of. So that way it can all just like
and it's true. And
be part of the same ecosystem,
Yeah.
I started going to CCC. I remember I came to CCC for the first time. I was the only Hispanic person there. A lot of old Asian people gave me bad looks when I walked in. They were like, why is he here?
If Andre let him, he's good.
Yeah, that's when I started meeting everybody for the first time. I met M.E.A.T, I met M.E.A.T, I met Ryan, I met Try, I met what's his name? The one that became a doctor and married Yvonne. Alan Yu. I met Alan Cunanan.
I told you, man, that guy's legendary.
I know.
Yeah, Alan Cunanan. Like I met all these cool people, and
Alan was not cool.
Alan
Hey, he's
Cunanan,
listening,
Alan Cunanan. Shout out Alan Cunanan, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And then, like I did not know.
I think he got married, man.
Alan Cunanan.
I think he got one of the mail order brides.
Shout out Alan Cunanan.
I saw a picture recently.
Good luck to Alan Cunanan.
I don't know. My wife showed. I said, "Oh my God."
Awesome. Well, yeah. I met all these people, and I think I don't really remember, but there was a lot of really, really young people there who I didn't know who they were at the time, like Dazi, all them. Were they all there? No.
It's a little bit later. This one, Cool Church Kids started.
Okay, because apparently there was a time where all the super little kids were like people that I later on got to know and was like,
Cool Church Kids.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't even know these people were like existed at that time, but I guess they were like toddlers.
So what was your experience of me trying to share a little bit about my faith with you?
It was awkward. It was super awkward because I felt like our friendship was like going in a direction that it had never gone in before. So I remember because, well, that was different because I was kind of like cool with it. I was like, oh, we get to stay friends. This is cool. My best friend is dating my sister. Yeah. If they get married, then he's going to be my brother-in-law. And it's like, this will be like a for life thing. But yeah, in college, like our lives just kind of started growing apart a little bit. High school going into college, our lives kind of started growing apart. We started liking different things, hanging out with different people. Mm-hmm. But then when we kind of like circled back and started hanging out in college and Garrett started talking about his faith, that was really foreign to me because you started talking about C.S. Lewis a lot. You asked me to read Mere Christianity.
Sounds a little predictable, does it, Edward?
That's me.
Yeah. He was like, hey, he just started having all these like really big existential thoughts. Like he started having all these really big philosophical questions about life. And,
is this me continuing to push you out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, I was like, man, I don't want to think about all this, man. Like I was like, man, I'm just trying to have a good time. Like I'm just trying to chill. Like, man, But I feel like if it was not for that moment, if it was not
for me becoming a Christian and you becoming a Christian, I don't like. We've said this before, and I think it's fair to say this.
We should be friends, but not like this.
We would be cool, but we wouldn't be friends.
It'd
Like we
probably
wouldn't
be like me and Matthew. Not,
I
I
don't
see him
know.
sporadic. I see him like every couple months.
Yeah, like it'd be like hey, if I saw you, I'd say what's up, and it would be a great
We
memory.
should catch up.
Yeah, we'd be like strangers who knew each other really well.
Yes.
You know what I
Probably
mean?
be the same for me and Tommy if
Yeah.
if he didn't come to my church.
But I don't really
You
remember.
gotta come to my church.
My church first. I was there. I was there first, Tommy.
Yeah, I just remember you.
Not the church I introduced or
My church.
about your church. Okay, cool.
I don't know. What are your thoughts during that time? What do you remember, Garrett?
It was kind of miraculous that we both became Christian independent of one another. You had your whole thing with ROTC and failing 3 times by 1 point. And you got
Turns out it was 2.
okay. In the Campus Crusade, and I was doing my own thing, and so it was like I tried to encourage you, but I don't take any credit for anything. I just felt I was kind of very coincidental, miraculously.
It felt like you were in your own place in your life, and you were just trying to process through it
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, "The hell's he talking about?"
So after that, we became friends. He'd come out a little bit every so often, and eventually, we don't
Yeah.
want to talk about this too much unless you want to. I invited him to help out at CCC.
On
and
Friday
join it.
nights?
Yeah, and then also eventually come to our church for a couple of years. He did, and which he did stay and was
It's awesome.
very helpful. What was your thoughts, memories from that time?
What, CZK?
CCK and coming to our church?
Best time ever, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolute best time ever. I think it was like,
it's good. I did.
it was just fun. It was fun. It felt like, I think it was the only time where church didn't feel like church, where church felt like a family. Like it felt like, dude, this doesn't even feel like church. Like,
Let's take a moment. Thank you, Teresa Chi. This is Chi.
shout out Miss
Thank
Chi,
you,
shout out
Mrs.
Dennis's
Lee.
mom,
Dennis's mom. Thank you.
shout out Dennis,
Dennis. Thank you very much, Dennis, and all the helpers.
shout out Peter Wong.
Sunday school teacher.
Sunday school teacher.
Yep. Shout out. What's Dan
Dan Chan?
Dan Chan's mom?
Ruth Chan?
Yeah,
She
Ruth
was that part,
Chan. She was, yeah, but I'm saying like she was like around during all
Okay,
that
okay.
time. Shout out Dan Chan, man.
The man, yeah.
Dan, the
Yeah,
man, we call him Dan.
dude was a real OG, man. That dude's been
He's-
around since forever.
You look exactly the same.
I remember that's when Garrett started inviting me to like retreats. I started going to Messiah. I think there was one time where Dan Chan came out, and he still remembers this too.
Were you were in the car when we got in a car accident?
Yes, I was in the
I
car
told
when
you.
we got into a car accident with Dan Chan. I was also there when Dan Chan like came out and yelled at everyone in his whitey tighties because I wouldn't go to sleep.
I don't remember this, but all right.
I've heard the story, yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Like I couldn't believe. I remember I found this old dusty Bible on our shelf, and I started waking up on Sunday mornings, taking my Bible, walking to the the Dunleary metro station, taking the metro all the way to DC just to hang out with people at church. And I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And my mom was like, you mean to tell me you're getting up Sunday mornings on your own to hop on the metro,
Same.
taking the metro all the way to DC just to hang out
with Chinese
with
people.
Chinese people. And I remember, I think like lunch was like $1, but I always like ate free, or I just never paid for it. I don't know.
Thank you, Mrs. Chi.
Shout out to whoever gave me free lunch.
Shout out to the cashier.
Yeah, and yeah, it was fun, man. I was like, dang, like this is crazy. But if I'm like trying to focus in like on our friendship, I think that was really important for that to happen. I don't think that we would have the friendship that we have today
Of course.
if we didn't,
Sure, that
if that wasn't our next chapter. Yeah.
Hey, you want to say something?
What was I gonna say?
Sounds like your life.
Yeah, it sounds like my life when I first started coming to church.
Luis is eating Chinese food right now. He's still in touch with the Chinese community.
That's right.
So I'm waking up early
It speaks
too.
to my soul.
I'm waking up early too to go to church. My mom's like, wow, because I'm just a kid who plays video games until like 4 a.m. and I sleep in all day. And I'm getting up early and I'm hanging out a lot. my life was changing, and it sounds the same. I relate.
Yeah, I was like, this is so
No.
weird.
Well, I didn't beat your ass, did I? That's different. But the whole church experience, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
The
think
big-
about.
The biggest difference is that we went together as more peers, and you went together as me, like your I'm like your tour guide.
Well, I think
Yeah.
what was cool was like it was like late high school into like early college, but I think like early like I God decided to start working. I mean, God was always working in my life, but God really started to reveal to me towards my junior year of college that he was like hunting me down and like wanted a relationship with me. So I think it wasn't until after
Campus
College.
Crusade with Ruda. No, it wasn't after. It was during college for Campus
no,
Crusade.
I'm saying, yeah, I'm saying like after, I'm just trying to focus on our friendship. Like,
Okay.
yeah, no, I mean, like, it was so funny story. This is a side note, but one of the guys that me and Garrett both know, his name is Ruda Lee. Shout out Ruda Lee. He is the one that invited me on a trip with a group called Campus Crusade for Christ, now known as Crew. He's the one that invited me on a trip where I heard the gospel for the first time.
This is Africa.
No. This is New Orleans. This is when I was.
Mission trip.
There's a lot of it's a lot to cover, but basically I was a sophomore
Spring
in
break
college.
mission.
Yeah, it was my spring break of my sophomore year, and a friend named Ruda who also knows Garrett. And the reason why Garrett knows him is because we all did Taekwondo together.
He pretty good time with
Yeah, so me, Garrett, and Ruda were all in those classes together.
Mm-hmm.
He invited me. I went on that trip. I heard about the gospel for the first time. The seed started growing in my heart. And so when Garrett came around and started talking about his faith, I was like, dude, this is wild. Like, Ruda invited me on this trip, and now Garrett's talking about this. Like, there's got to be something going on here. And so then my junior year, my senior year, I professed my faith my junior year of college. And then, and then it was like after college when Garrett started inviting me to CCK. And I had already kind of been walking in my faith for a while. I even went on a mission trip. South Africa, I remember. And then I think it was like not long after that, Garrett invited me to do a talk at Messiah.
No. Yeah, but CCK
Was it?
first.
No, yeah, you invited me to do a talk at CCK since I felt more comfortable kind of sharing about my faith. And I did this thing called Breaking with the Past.
Uh-huh.
And it was basically like a testimony / like
Activity.
talk, activity, workshop
Yeah.
where I taught people how to break dance. And I also shared my testimony. And I did like the 6 steps to coming to Christ. Like,
It's great. It's
something
awesome.
like
It's one
that,
of the
yeah.
Best things I've ever been part of.
Yeah, and I remember, I don't know, and then me and Garrett's like just really started connecting over that. Like you and I started really connecting over that.
All right. Any questions, Louis? Edward?
What's the guy's name? The
Ruda
Ruda.
Lee.
Let's skip forward. We don't have to talk about like.
Yeah.
You probably thought it was interesting. I was hanging out with kids, but you were like, okay. I was hanging out with cool church kids.
It's funny. I never really thought it was weird.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I think it's because you were doing it through church that it kind of made sense.
Okay.
But this was also before. I mean, I guess pedophiles were always a thing, but like this was like before like that was like the initial accusation for
Chris
why.
Hansen.
Yeah, like back in the day, it was like you could hang out with kids, but it wasn't.
There's a big difference. It's because we were all part of one community. It didn't seem as weird.
You know the kids.
Yeah,
Not random kids.
everyone knew my father. It was a tight knit community, so it was okay. You can do these things in special environments. Luis is
It didn't seem weird.
that reminds me of the time you ate all the popsicles from Norris.
I remember
Yeah,
what was going on and why I ate all the popsicles.
because I kept falling asleep during the movie. And
Lord of the Rings.
Every time I saw him, I'm like, is that the same popsicle? You're like, yeah. And then
Garrett had a box of like 36 popsicles or something.
and he ate like 12.
He goes, "Go ahead, man. Have whatever popsicles you want." And I was like, "Whatever I want." And I just basically finished the whole box. I ate
This is Fat Louis.
I ate like 36. I was like 10.
Okay.
It was
I was
fat.
like,
No,
oh,
that
okay.
was when I was 11th grade. You were fat. You were like 9th grade. You were a little chubby.
Okay.
I was a growing boy.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump to another part of our friendship next chapter. We had a lot of chapters. So we had the Taekwondo, the dating, the high school, the coming to Christianity chapter, which is part CCK. This is a big one for us.
What's this?
The Kenya.
Kenya.
Then Kenya happened.
Yeah, so Luis was effed because like, God, I'll let you say it.
Well,
And then that's you guys.
so there we were, me and Garrett, just buddies. Thank God that, our faith became kind of a very, like, basically, when you become a Christian, God basically becomes the foundation of your life.
Hopefully.
That's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So that's happened for Garrett. That happened for me. So CCK was going on. We started really doing a lot of stuff like church groups, like church community. I got one of my first like big boy jobs.
Big boy jobs.
Well, let me back up though. Let me back up because I feel like I'm missing a really important part. Not long, like 2 years out of college, I had this like complete mental breakdown. And I ended up in the psychiatric hospital for having suicidal ideation. I was going through a lot. It was getting to be too much. Didn't know how to deal with it. So I just wanted to check out. And I remember Garrett showing up at the hospital. I was asleep. And all of a sudden I feel this big brick just like land on my chest.
What?
And I was like, oh.
It's his hand.
And I opened my eyes from my hospital bed, and it's Garrett sitting on the edge of my bed. And on my chest is a big thing of like, what's it called? Cobblestone chocolate or something?
I don't remember.
It was like this big brick of chocolate.
Toblerone.
Topplestone.
This triangle. Okay.
Triangle
I
chocolate?
don't know. Yeah, it was like this really big chocolate.
Fairfax and Nova. Go ahead, though.
Yeah.
Didn't really say much. He just kind of looked at me. But mind you, I was like, this guy's not really good with like feelings and like words, but he'll be there for you. He just said, hey man, here's some chocolate.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then you said, enjoy that, and I'll see you when you get out.
It sounds like prison or something.
That's pretty
He
much-
left.
That's pretty much all he said. That's all I can remember.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah, that was it. And I was like,
I wasn't quite I wasn't quite as competent in visitation.
it was one of his first like visitations, really.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. So I really appreciated him visiting, being a good friend even after that. But yeah, fast forward, I finally got back on my feet. I got this big boy job, working in a fancy office in Arlington. And Garrett you were sponsoring a child through Compassion International.
Rephrase that.
You were
Or
throwing a bunch of money at something that you hoped.
Sponsoring 11 children.
You were sponsoring 11 children. I thought you were sponsoring an 11-year-old in Kenya or something.
So we came to. So I said, let's visit one of my children. So I had 4 in India, and I had 2 in Kenya. I said, where you want to go, India or Kenya? You remember this?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was
Good
like,
choice.
toss up, and then we ended up deciding on Kenya because I read some books.
I thought you just went to Kenya. You went to Kenya first.
I did.
Yeah.
And then you ducked out the first time. So I went by myself. I was thinking about going with you. We were thinking about going together. So
I think you went
solo.
2012, right?
No, 2011. I went solo. But anyway, so the next year I said, you know what, Luis? I want you to come with me.
Yeah, I was,
You're
a
like,
li- I was a little busy
Yeah, no.
in
So what,
2011.
so what happened?
Yeah.
You got fired.
No.
You quit your job.
What are you talking about?
You said I'm not going to a mission trip unless I get.
Oh, I see what you're saying now. Okay, anyways, I got this. Mind you, I had just gotten back on my feet mentally. My mental health was like back in check. I finally, I had lost my job before that. That's how bad it was. And I just got this job, and I was so grateful for it. And I was like, I'm making good money. I get to wear a suit every day. I got this hotshot job where I feel really good. I'm back on my feet. Then Garrett comes, and he's like, hey, man,
Got a mission for us.
I got a mission for us. And I'm like, shit, here we go with this guy pushing me out of my comfort zone again. Right when I'm nice and comfy, he comes along.
I got you fired.
You didn't, okay, I don't know, man.
I'm kidding.
You didn't get me fired, but basically he was like, I want you to come to Kenya with me. And I was like, I don't know if I can go. Like, I don't know if I have enough time off. He said, just check. I checked. They said, no, you don't. You don't have enough time off. Because the way this job worked, you had to work every paycheck. You got a certain amount of time off. I hadn't worked for long enough to have enough time off for the time that Garrett wanted us to go. So I went back to Garrett and I said, sorry, man, I can't go. I don't have enough time off. He said, well, what does God want you to do?
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
He sounds mean.
And you said, pray about it. You said, pray about it. See what God wants you to do. You know? And I was like, man, I ain't trying to live outside my comfort zone, bro. I was like, man, I ain't trying to pray about this. I just told you I don't have enough time
It's gonna be a
off.
quick prayer.
Yeah, I was like, I just told you. But I realized, damn, God, I didn't really wait to hear what God had to say. I just heard what my paycheck had to say.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, fine. And so I had a conversation with God, and I was like, God, what do you want me to do? And God's like, yeah, I want you to go. And I was like, I don't have enough time off. How am I supposed to do this? And I remember my manager at the time, I told them why I wanted to take my time off. And I was hoping that because I had a good reason, it was like a humanitarian reason, that they would, grant me some kind of exception. And they told me, you're welcome to take that time off, but I mean, you're pretty much like, you might as well just go ahead and quit your job then. Ha ha ha, And I remember I felt this peace of God say, you need to go with Garrett to Kenya. Like, I will tell you what to do next when you get there. But right now, I just need you to go with this dude. And I was like, man. So I went back to my job and I said, hey, so I quit. And they said, are you serious? And I said, yeah, I'm giving my 2 weeks notice. Like, I was in a conference room with my two managers. One of my managers, I remember his name was Mason. He got really upset and he said, you know what? You could just scratch the 2 weeks and get out now. And they kicked me out of the office.
Damn.
And they said, pack your stuff up. We're not even gonna get like security to escort you out, nothing like that.
Do you feel bad?
You could just leave now.
No, blame it on me. Blame it on God.
Yeah. Shout out God.
Shout out God. Fired.
So I told Garrett, I said, hey, it looks like we're going to Kenya. So we went to Kenya, and it was fun. It was a good time.
It was tired.
It was exhausting. I mean, there was a whole bunch of stories there too, but it was an adventure, man. And I was like really living by faith.
I was living by faith, spending money.
Yeah, and Garrett was living by faith in his own way. But it was cool because I was like, again, I was kind of like, damn, like this dude is always, one, taking me to all these dirty places.
Hey,
Two,
who told you to wear those dumbass sandals, man? His feet were all
I
black.
can never wear nice clothes around this guy.
Your feet were all black.
Yeah, exactly. Don't wear sandals in Kenya.
Who
I don't
told
know.
you missionaries gotta wear sandals?
I don't know. I thought Jesus did it. So. And
was
then,
appropriate.
yeah, I thought
He
it was
wasn't walking through
appropriate.
smog and stuff.
And then 3, I was like, yeah, I'm always kind of being pushed outside my comfort zone. So I was like, here I am in Kenya.
Yeah.
The hell do I do now? And so I just basically was just watching Garrett live by faith, and I was supporting him in that. And it was cool to watch. It was stressful to watch, but it was cool to watch.
I spent a lot of money.
Yeah, you were taking all different kinds of risks at that point.
I spent like $3,000 in 12 days, 10 days just giving everybody handouts, which is why
Where
I'm
did you
concerned.
even have $12,000?
3,000.
Were you in debt?
3,000.
No.
No.
Not
all
at
the-
that time.
Is that all the money you had?
3,000.
No, but it was annoying.
Yeah, I was very
pretty
surprised.
frugal.
I did think Garrett was being kind of dumb. I was like, damn. Now, I was like, hey, I'm all for this dude, like, being outside the comfort zone. But I was like, this just doesn't seem
I know.
sustainable.
Don't worry. I felt it more than you
I
did.
will say, I mean, we were doing a lot of good work, but I was like, where's all this going? Like, what are we going to do here?
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of started this whole
Don't worry.
new adventure.
So we started the idea of a Christian library.
Yep. Because it started out of a conversation to be like, how can we keep giving to others? How can we keep serving others, but in a sustainable way? And then that's where the library idea came from.
Bubbly didn't come in yet.
No, he was there.
Okay.
They met their first trip.
Yeah. How'd you feel
He
about Bubbly?
introduced me to Bubbly the first time.
How do you feel about Bubbly? By the way, I told you you might become in America.
Yeah,
I
New
told
York
you
City. Shout out.
Oh my
Bubbly.
God.
Sean.
I just gave him $2,500
Wow.
last week.
Like 2,500.
I said 25.
That's $25,000.
Oh, $2,500 US.
1,500.
That's 2,500.
Yeah, for him to help pay for the deposit to come to America.
Wow.
So, hey,
And that's not even a
Hey,
guarantee.
you give me money too. I feel bad for you.
You're saying that's like not it's like not even a guarantee.
no, it's guaranteed. I think so. I think it's all right. You got paid $2,000 more for everything, but it gets his name down. So, just a side note.
Does he like have the money?
The gym is in December. December's really slow, so I had to kind of fork it over. But I look forward to us. We should go on a vacation. in
New York
April.
City.
How long is Bubbly staying here?
I don't know. Maybe we can stay a little longer. So hey,
Good.
Bob, let's
That'd
go.
be
But yeah,
crazy.
tell us about Bubbly. Your experience of like being in Kenya. Like, you felt like it was actually like trying to be a Christian for real.
It felt
No room for pussies.
I was a little bit afraid to read the Bible during that time because I was like, damn, like
I'm gonna have to live.
this is actually really hard. I was like,
No, you
actually
wanted to be a missionary.
actually doing what this book says to do
hard.
is very scary and hard.
Put these shades back on.
And I was like, so when it says like, pray for the widows, care for the orphans, I was like,
Too many of them.
yeah, you read that and that's a cute little sentence, but then you actually go to this like shack in the middle of nowhere with
Let's
a
talk
bunch
about
of
the land. Let's go.
with a
let's-
bunch of orphans.
Let's talk about the landfill.
And then they're just looking up at you with these like little beady eyes, and you're just like, okay, all it says is care for them. Like, how do you do that?
Right.
Like, how am I supposed to care for? And then it becomes real, or a widow, and then it's like you meet this old lady whose like husband died and she can't afford to do, and I'm like, damn, like here we are, like really doing the work, like praying for people who are like dying. You know what I mean? And I'm like, these people are dying. Like, and this person's looking up at you with all this hope in their eyes. Like, what happens after this? And then you have to sit there and you have to be like, place your faith in Christ and you can go to heaven and blah, blah. Like, but it's like you have to believe what you're saying. Otherwise, it's
Yeah.
like I'm just
false hope.
I'm giving this false hope to this dying person who's literally about to find out what actually happens. Like, this person's gonna find out before I do. Like,
I wouldn't say they're dying, but they're not. It looked like they could live in Baltimore.
Suffering.
streets of Baltimore.
we got pictures. Some of those people like
Yeah, we
straight
were in the
up look
hospital.
like
They're not doing
dying.
great. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. The hospital
Yeah.
industry, I would say they're bad shape. So I don't know exactly,
Yeah.
but yeah, you mean
Well, I just remember in Kenya being. I mean, I had gone on a mission trip before.
yours was different than mine.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, actually, that's a funny thing. So my mission trip was completely different. Luis went with organization. I went as a one-man show.
So,
Hey,
you said that one sucked?
No, he loved it.
I loved it, but I would say like.
What did Joyce call me today?
I had my
What did it just call you?
One-man powerhouse.
Powerhouse. Yeah, that was cool.
I was like a one-man.
Yeah, I had
good.
I had a great experience. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and like bash it, but I will say like
Yes.
I think it was like a little too like safe.
Oh, you talking about South Africa?
Yeah, and it was very. I had gone to South Africa before that. I don't know when did I go to Azerbaijan?
After that.
It was after the first time of Kenya, right? Like
No, before we went to Kenya.
There was one time where I came back from the Middle East, hung out for like a couple days, and then took off to Kenya again.
I don't remember.
I think it was like 2014. I don't know. Anyways, but basically, what am I getting at? What I'm getting at is my trip to South Africa was nice, but it just felt very like safe.
Rehearsed.
It felt very rehearsed. It felt very
that's-
template.
Yes.
Like it felt like we were being funneled as like Christian tourists.
Yeah, that's what you
Like,
mentioned
hey,
before.
pop out of the van, wave to the poor people, sing songs, dance. Okay, back in the van, let's go to the compound. We're going to do some shopping before we get back. Like, it just felt very like you paid for an experience, But then I paid and you get this experience, but I felt like when I went with Garrett, it felt like I was paying for the experience. Like you're getting an experience and you gotta pay for it. Like it was different than just like pay for it and then you get an experience. It was like, nah, you about to experience what paying for it feels like. And
We both
yeah,
got sick.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
exhausting.
like you really gotta put it out there, and God becomes very like real
To this day, I told, but I don't want to do any more outreach, Bubbly.
Yeah, we're like,
I got outreached out. Like I maxed out on sermons.
yeah,
I'm completely different. I'm more like about, telling other people to do stuff.
I'll say this: if I'm trying to focus in on like our friendship, I would say that
You are very kind to come and join me like no other person. So that's what I will say. And I'm happy that we always had a sense of humor when we were miserable. Like we're kind of like tired. We couldn't sleep at all. There's no AC. Thank you, Bubbly.
Yeah.
Put us in that hotel.
There was
Tell us about the hotel room.
There was no. Yeah, like there's. So it's very easy to believe in the goodness and grace of God in an air-conditioned room where, it's nice. You could read your Bible in this nice air-conditioned, well-lit room.
Those are the Instagrams.
Yeah. But then when you're in this steamy, hot, smelly
I hate that.
room where you are sweating and you're literally just sitting there
You gotta take
Waiting to pass out.
waiting to pass out. You don't even know if you could drink the water. You're in a bug net because there's mosquitoes buzzing around you. And it's very hard to read the Bible and be like, come taste that the word of the Lord is good. I'm just like, this sucks, man. This sucks.
He had a hotel room that was above the jet. The
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah.
With live music.
And what was crazy is
$12 a night.
I remember
Cheap, nice.
I remember just thinking why the hell did Garrett drag me here? And I was like, well, first of all, he didn't. It was a choice that I went. But I was like, I remember thinking before we left, Luis, you could die on this trip. You could die. First and foremost, God was like, you should go. But second of all, God was like, you should go and basically back this guy up. He's going to need backup. And I thought, if I go here and I die because of this guy, first of all, he messed up my white Sauconys. He's ripped so much of my clothes, this and that. But I was like, if I come here and I die. But, it was good because I thought to myself, that is what a friend does. I read in scripture where Jesus says,
Die for a friend.
You're
Greatest
willing to
love.
give up your life for your friends. And you said the most important thing to you is loyalty. I was like, I get it. I get it. I was like, dude, I'm willing to
It's funny.
die for this dude. But I was also obviously God.
But I'm pissed.
Yeah, God told me to go.
Pissed, I'm dying.
Yeah. I was like, God told me to go, but I was like, you're backing this dude up in this vision that he has that he doesn't even really know where he's going
That is a good friend.
with it. And I'm like, you could die doing this. You know what I mean? You could get freaking
Get rich and
kidnapped.
die trying.
You could get ransomed. And all because one, God told you to go, so you gotta go. But two, God told you to go and follow this fool over here to figure out what he's doing.
That fool is, when you use the word fool, Paul uses that word quite favorably.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. That's what made it all make sense.
I know.
You know what I mean?
try to live by faith.
I was like-
unfortunately, there's only one way to live by faith. Is
Like a fool.
through faith.
Yeah.
You don't really know what's going on.
But I would say it became very real, and I think our friendship definitely, all the late night talks,
It's a bonding
all of the
experience.
ways that we're hey, this is how God is showing up, and you're in the shit with your friend, you're in it.
Yeah, but Kenya's shit, but when you hear that,
Meaning,
you're
I'm not
country.
I'm not saying Kenya. I'm saying
Experience.
the heat, the humidity, the bugs, the
Fatigue.
the fatigue, the
Police.
irritability.
The
You're
police are hitting us up
yeah,
every other
you're
day.
irritable. You're tired. Your butt crack is sweating. You're you're you're
It's annoying.
yeah. And what's crazy is
I've done it. I ain't trying to do that.
it's like a marriage. Garrett, you are so messy. You are so messy.
No, I ain't that messy. Not compared to my wife.
No.
What are you saying?
I'm saying in comparison to me,
Yes, definitely.
when we would get to a hotel room or something like that, this dude would just take his socks off, throw it on the floor, throw his shirt in the closet, set his stuff up,
Yeah.
and I always wanted things very meticulous,
We're
very
leaving in 2 days, man. Hey, let's tell the funny story. I'm like, all right, Luis, let's go. We're getting up. When we gotta leave? 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, we need more time. Like, why?
Yeah, he'd be like, he just throws everything in his rolling duffel
Not
bag.
folded.
Let's just go.
No folded. Yeah.
I'm sitting here. I need my perfect little compartments. I need my accessories.
Oh, I'm doing the Saucony thing to you again.
Yeah, and I'm like, but I really, it's funny because you have to stop and ask yourself, like, why the hell am I doing this? Like, why? But you realize it's because you love this dude.
That reminds me of something Garrett did to Justin.
Oh, yeah.
He was getting annoyed at Justin packing his suitcase, taking forever, so he threw the suitcase and threw all the clothes out of it.
And you know
It's
what?
terrible.
Gary hates
No,
it.
it's not terrible.
terrible.
This man makes his wait every time to go on a
Garrett
trip.
hates that.
Yeah, that's true. I think yeah, like I don't know, and you just realize like you wouldn't do that for just like anybody.
Appreciate you.
You know what I mean?
Awesome, man.
Well, I think it's cool to like be invited into that adventure.
What's
And
the
it's
thing?
cool because it's like that's what better foundation could there be than to make your faith real with like another person? You know what I mean? It's a good friendship is almost like getting married again. It's like it's about to get really real, and you're gonna experience it with this person, and you're gonna get to celebrate the good times. Like, we had good times in Kenya.
Oh, yeah, of course we have so many fun
We get
times.
to eat donuts. We get to drink soda.
We got to see your dumb ass try to minister some demon there.
We got to see all sorts of good stuff, good laughs and whatever. But then there's also some times that are like really like
Tough.
shitty. Yeah, like you're just like the plane rides, the heat, the
Ethiopian Airlines.
Ethiopian people and
Ethiopian people.
yeah, the country of Ethiopia and.
Downtown Silver Spring, 7-Elevens.
But you kind of like learn how, like, it's like what I said about like how they say like in relationships like you should like at least travel together at least once.
We just said that.
Like it's crazy to
Oh,
think
yeah,
how
that was a
many
couple
friends
days ago, yeah.
actually and this is kind of like if your friendship doesn't have these things, then I question how real your friendship is. One, if you cannot talk to your friends about spiritual things, if you
If you're
cannot
a
talk
Christian.
about, if you can, not even. I'm saying like even if you're not a Christian,
Okay.
and you bring up to another friend like, hey, what do you even think about God? Like, what do you even think about God? And then they cancel you or they just like isolate themselves from you
Yep.
or whatever. There was no real friendship there because when you kind of start talking about God, like you really got to strip away the layers and you get down to the core of who you are as like a human being. And if you can't get to that kind of nakedness or like spiritual like vulnerability with somebody, then I mean there isn't really anything else past that. You know what I mean? And then two, like if you haven't traveled with this friend, then you don't really know this person. Like if you haven't had to share a room with them, if you haven't had to live with them, like
All that great conversation.
Fair bad, yeah.
yeah, like so it's kind of like I mean I think those are two really good things to
I hope
be able to do in a
for
friendship.
those like Edward, I'm sure you'd recommend go visit Kenya with Garrett. It's pretty funny if you get you.
Absolutely.
But you don't have to.
I
deal
think
with
things
the
are a
stuff.
lot better
Yeah,
now.
yeah. You don't have to deal with this stuff.
Absolutely. Last time I went, I was eating freaking octopus on a boat, and I was chilling in a resort. Swimming in
I
a
told
pool.
you. Remember I said to you, if you don't want to do anything, you don't have to.
Yeah.
I said to you,
I was like, this is glorious. I was like, this is sensational.
And I backed it up.
Sensational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Just
was
changed a
like-
lot. So just a side note for Luis, maybe wrap it up, but this part of the chapter, you have seen go from nothing to something. The Gap mission and my business.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen it change a lot. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Went from like, I don't know what we're doing now. We have an organization. We have a home base. We have a network.
I think just from my own like watching it, especially like Bubbly's life,
He's
Like-
looking richer than me.
like that dude's life has completely changed. So if there's anybody who should be on this podcast talking about friendship, it should be Bubbly.
He was number one. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're good friends.
Yeah.
A lot of Luis, just say, Luis and Bubbly are my true, dearest, most loyal friend. And right after that, in terms of loyalty, I will say Everett. Bobby's pretty loyal. But I said that.
I
He's been with
agree.
me to Kenya twice. If you don't go with me to Kenya, you haven't made
Yeah,
The elite.
Well, I've been there
But
5
Edward-
times.
Edward doesn't count because he's too poor. But
I wouldn't want to go back
I
to
wanna go-
Kenya.
I want to go to Kenya. I want to sleep in the mosquito net.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
No,
Now,
you
one thing I
don't.
would say about Edward, he can handle the sauna better than me.
Yeah, apparently you like the heat. Yeah.
I ain't going there. You go by yourself. You just a side note, and I think Luis will end this part, but you did that, and you understand it was your role to support me. This is not your vision; it was my vision, and you did
Yeah,
your job.
I didn't even know where you were going with all of this.
And so like
That's the crazy
That's
part.
faith.
and so for Edward, if he comes, obviously you can support him, but I hope every person finds their own spiritual path, and I'm happy that part of your path was overlapping with me for a few years in Kenya.
Well, it's great because you could like have like a buddy of yours who wants to like start a business or wants to, has like a dream or whatever. But it honestly, like, it's kind of hard to like support them like consistently because it's like, I hear you want to be like a athlete or you want to do this, you want to do that. Like, then you got to really ask yourself, do I really believe in my friend like this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I really think that this person could be a musician someday? Do I really
don't wanna
think this
support- you don't
person
wanna
could
be
be a
an
bit?
enabler.
Yeah, like you're like, man, I don't know, man. Like, and then you start kind of wondering, like, But honestly, like, I guess what was different was I was like, I don't even know what you're doing. Like, I don't even know what you're doing here. But I know that if you want to do it and you feel the conviction to do it, this dude's going to keep taking an ass whooping and he's not going to back down. So I was like, I don't know where he's going, but if he's saying
Don't worry, I don't either.
if he's saying God is leading him there, then he will take the hits.
We say
He
what?
will take the hits.
Keep getting back up here, right now.
So I was like, he will take the hits, and if he gets knocked down, like he needs somebody there in his corner. Like he needs somebody to help pick him back up and be like,
then you need a good friend.
get back to work, man. Like get back in the fight.
I would,
you know?
I would not be 75% loyal without good friends.
Yeah.
Be only 25%.
Loyal friends.
Yeah. I want to take a quick, just a quick phase. Talk about quickly maybe your experience with my dad. You had a brief little time when you lived with my dad, and
Yeah.
you knew how a little wacky Dr. Lee
Cute
was.
guy, yeah. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, first we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Viagra. Thank you to Viagra for keeping us hard. Just kidding. I'm just messing. Podcasts have sponsorships.
Yeah, AG1.
Yeah. Shout out to Athletic Greens. Garrett's dad, man. So it's funny that you mentioned the whole thing, like, hey, get ready, we're leaving in 5 minutes. Because that was the thing your dad used to do.
I know.
That was the thing your dad used to do. Was he used to be like, Garrett, get ready. And I used to sleep over at Garrett's house. And he'd always be like, Garrett, get ready, we're leaving. When are we leaving, Dad? Now. And I'd be like, can I get a heads up, please? And Garrett's like, sorry, that's just what my dad's like. That's what he would say. And so then when we go to Kenya, Garrett would be like, Luis, get up. We got to go. And I'm like, when are we going? Now. And I'm like, man, didn't you used to hate when your dad did
No, I
this?
didn't. I never hated it.
Well, okay. Well, I don't know. I hated it when you guys did that. I was like, give me a heads up. Your dad, man, what a crazy guy. He was a great guy. I'll just say what my initial thoughts are anytime I think about your dad. Very caring guy. Always wanted to take care of people. Always asked me if I ate. Always made sure I ate. I don't know how he did it, but if I was like, no, not yet, he would just disappear and come back like 5 minutes later with Chinese food.
That's awesome.
You're the opposite of ever. Did you eat?
Out
And
of-
he goes, no. You're like, good.
Good.
No,
Yeah,
Stay that way.
like out of nowhere,
Stay
he
that
show
way.
up with food. He would just always be. I always felt like I there was a time where I felt like he didn't like me, but
He didn't like me either, don't we? That was like pre.
I think he was just very stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't understand that as a
Don't
kid.
worry.
I just kind of thought, oh man, he doesn't like me. It must be because I'm Hispanic or something like that. But
He
looking
was-
back
he
at
was-
it now, I'm like, yeah, he had a lot of
He was,
reasons
he
to
was
be
tough
stressed.
on me too.
He when I lived in 214 2nd Street,
Yeah.
Southeast DC, Dr. Lee's office, I lived upstairs, and I would always wake up to the sound of Garrett's dad just kind of chattering away with the front desk assistant person. I was very, very surprised at how comfortable they were with their humor with each other.
What?
He would
What-
just
what
say
jokes?
some vulgar,
that
racist jokes. But the thing was, he never offended anybody. At least that he was like talking to.
I don't know, but
I'm
most of the
sure.
time.
I'm saying I'm not speaking for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm saying for the people that I heard him talking
Yes,
to,
yeah.
the people loved him. They loved Dr. Lee. They just, I don't know. He was like everybody's grandpa or something, like, or everybody's like family member, especially black people. They loved him. He would always make fun of people, but he was always like really kind, and he would always say good morning to me. And every time I was about to leave for work, he asked me if I ate. You know, and he always said, if you need anything, let me know. Pete's Diner is right next door. You know, I'll give you a couple dollars to go get something to eat. Like, he took good care of me. He was
Not the other people.
no. This is just to me. This is just
The
to
other-
me.
The tenants, the other tenants.
Yeah, the other
Okay.
tenants.
F
He
them,
did
you don't
not like
them.
them. Yeah, he's like, them damn Chinese people. But like,
Were they your friends?
No.
no, they were just like random tenants. But
Tell
he
me that
was-
story when he goes, I don't got all day now. The person was like in a wheelchair or
Yeah,
cane.
the lady, there was a patient or something like that who was very disabled and had this like very disheveled leg, and she was like on a cane or something. He came out, he called out the name. He was like Johnson or what, I don't know, whatever the name was. The person gets up, starts kind of waddling their way over to like the chair or whatever. And I thought I was getting my bicycle. I was getting ready to leave for work or whatever. And I see this old lady and she's really struggling. And I thought he was going to be like, can I help you with anything? Blah, blah, this and that. But he just looks at her and he goes, well, all right, come on. I don't got all day. And she's like, oh, Dr. Lee, you so crazy. Blah, blah, this and that. Like, and he was just all like, yeah.
It's a little unfiltered.
He
I
was
thought
just
she gonna
always,
get mad.
yeah, I thought so too. But I don't know. Just people just knew that he had like a good heart or something.
He does. I think
And
there's a
he-
lot of overlap between him and I, but he's
And
a
he
little
always,
more
he
outrageous.
always kind of lightly had like hip hop playing in the background, like
DMX,
rap,
right?
DMX. He
Right.
loved him some DMX. I remember one time, I think it was like Garrett's dad was taking us somewhere or dropping me off or something like that, and he just started blasting DMX in the car. And I was like, what is going on here? And he was just all about it. So
Yeah.
he loved it. But yeah, he was always really, really nice. I can't really think of a time where he was like mean to me or whatever.
When he got older, when you got more mature, he was a good guy.
I think it's funny because the older he got, it's like the more I don't know what the word is, like the more like gentle he became. You know what I mean?
It's normal.
I think that is normal, but it was really cool to see. Like, it was cool to see how gentle he became, and that you guys seem to get a lot closer the older that he got.
And you saw us.
I
pretty
thought
close,
that was
my
really
dad.
good. And he was very supportive with like the bookstore and all that other stuff. He was very shy. Anytime I kept always trying to get a video of him to give you some kind of shout out or
He don't like
something.
camera.
He didn't like being on camera. He never really wanted to. And he would always just
He
be like,
was fun. He was helping me out also the flea market.
yeah. I saw that. I saw the sign for the Dulles Expo Center, and it says DC Big Flea coming up.
I know.
And Garrett would always, help his dad out. I remember that's where I used to make a lot of money. Like Garrett used to pay me to work the DC Big Flea.
Yeah, I know. I did a lot of. I've done a lot of stuff. A lot of different odd jobs.
I didn't do flea market with you.
Did I? No, you did some of the worst computers.
Yeah.
Driving all night long.
Because you,
Are we allowed to talk about this or no? Without using names.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
Next chapter.
next chapter.
This
a lot
was,
of chapters.
Kenya.
Um,
Yeah.
my dad, this is a good segue because the truth was that when my dad was dying, you were starting to date somebody.
Yeah.
And one of the things I've changed from that is I regret.
Use the bathroom. That's good.
Not looking out for you more, man.
Mm.
Obviously, I know I have limited
Yeah.
insight, but I was more focused on my father. And
That's
I wasn't
understandable.
able to
Yeah.
be more involved in your relationship with your ex wife. We didn't talk about that, but like, you know, I felt that by nature I'm always more naturally I'm hands off. Obviously with the fitness I'm more proactive, but with like tougher emotional things I kind of take a step back. And I felt that I wasn't watching you like an older brother should. And to this day I have changed that, which is why I've been so adamant about being hands-on with a lot of the kids I mentor about their relationships. Because I felt that I dropped the ball with you. Obviously it's not all my fault. You know, it's your own decision, but
Like you don't feel responsible for the
I feel-
divorce, do you?
I feel responsible for not being more engaged during your courtship, that I could provide you feedback. So why don't you tell me about that a little bit?
Well, I mean, I think it's understandable. I mean, you have
I
a
know,
lot
of course, I
stuff
know
going
it's
on
not my.
with your.
Of course, I only have so much
Yeah.
room in my head, but you know, I do. I was telling him. Did you hear what I said?
No.
It was because of his divorce that I felt the need to be more involved in everyone's life when it comes to relationships, like you and your ex.
Is this around the same time? Oh yeah,
This is 2017.
17.
He started,
Yeah.
you know, his courtship. You know,
yeah.
Evelyn.
Do you feel like if you were
It-
more involved in
I coulda helped
my
you-
courtship, then you could have basically helped, like, spare me? Like, you felt
Spare
like
you some pain.
you felt like you weren't really looking out for me as like
Yeah.
a big brother.
I was
and then-
distracted. I didn't understand the influence I could have. And I should not shy away from I need to recognize the importance I have in your life. And for me not to know how important I am to you and how much I could guide you is it's shortchanging our friendship. So what do you talk about? Why don't you talk about our friendship during your kind of rough few years of marriage?
Do you feel like there's like some kind of critical voice in your head that's like, hey, how come you weren't looking out for your little brother?
I
like-
feel that in hindsight, I don't feel guilty about it. I just feel sad about it. There's a difference. Guilt is like I don't like myself. Sadness is like I wish I was better. You know, so I feel sad that I wasn't better, but I don't hate myself for it. I just know that I didn't have all the tools that I have now, or wisdom, or whatever. But what do you think about our friendship during that time when you were going through your rocky marriage? We're not here to talk about your marriage, but our friendship.
Yeah. We're focusing in on our friendship. I mean, you know me, man. I don't know if it's like a trauma thing or what, but like my memory gets like wiped as soon as something like is over. It's like it never happened.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me to like tap back into it. But now I will say, I mean, I think a big part of it was like that there was a lot going on for me personally during
Sure.
that time. So yeah,
I also don't have the ability to read your mind as well. I know it's really complicated.
But I also I think that I know we're here to talk about my relationship, but I think there was I will say there was a lot of me that went into that relationship very hidden.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like I was very hidden. I was very reserved, and I created the character that I needed to create. Like I was trying to become the person that I wanted to be. Like, oh, this is what I want my life to look like. So what do I need to do to like chameleon myself to live that life?
Yeah.
But the problem with that is like that's not sustainable because that's not where my life was supposed to go. It's just what I wanted my life to look like.
So one of the things I found to be disappointing was that, and I'm not here to judge you, and that's not what I want to talk about, was that when things started getting tough, you felt like you didn't between you and Vanessa, my wife didn't care, and she reached out to Vanessa. Whether what advice he gave, I don't really know. Doesn't really matter. But I will focus on that she tried, and I respect that. You know, in her own way, she tried to help, but it seemed like that you said there were not a lot of people to be found when the going got tough. What's your thought?
Yeah, I don't think it's for a lack of trying. I think it was a difficult situation where I don't think anybody was able to offer a definitive answer. I think it was I think what I experienced during that time was everybody was just like, shit, what do we do with something like this? You know, like, and I think that was honestly one of the best things that could have happened, is where you hit this point where nobody can decide like what's going to happen for you next. Like, nobody's going to say the thing or do the thing that's going to provide you with the clarity that you need to know what your next steps
My
going to be.
answer was I had to try to figure out Vanessa's perspective,
Yeah.
and I tried to be her friend. It was hard.
Well, yeah, I mean, she didn't want me talking to you, and she didn't want us talking to anyone, which I don't think was like a healthy thing. I think in a lot of ways was very isolating. So that was also, you know, part of my big reservation was like why I didn't want to move to a different state.
I'm talking about,
You know?
you're talking about when you guys are breaking up. Like, you
Yeah,
tried to get
like
to-
I was like, I don't, you know, and I think there was a lot that was like I was learning during that time, because I was like, well, if I move to a completely different state, like I'm not going to have the support systems that I normally have. But I'm trying to focus in on what your question is here. Like,
Well, just what you're, I mean,
just like what I mean, I think you did everything you could possibly do as a friend. I think you had boundaries to what you could do.
I know.
Everybody did. Like, I felt like we went to pastors and they were like, shit, man, I don't know. Like, I think I don't know how I would expect you to know. I don't know how to expect my parents to know. And that's when it became like a God thing.
I will say
You know?
this. What I do know is don't escalate a bad situation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to do, is to de-escalate.
Yeah.
So not to fix it, but to calm down.
I mean, yeah, I don't think that it would have went as smoothly if you didn't come in and save my ass like a bunch of times.
So,
Honestly, like I'm not saying that as like I would have freaking killed her. I would have like did this or that. But I just think that I was so like lost and my head was like spinning so much. You were the only thing that provided any kind of clarity, or even like not even clarity, but like you were like the island. You were like an island in like a freaking tsunami. You know what I mean? Like you were the only stable ground that I had.
a doc.
Yeah, like you were like, yeah, I was kind of like, so I hope I know you said you don't feel guilty, but that you feel sad, but like,
I feel sad about the beginning. I know I did everything good towards the end.
yeah.
But-
But I mean, do you feel like a big part of that was like you swimming against a stream at that point? Like, damn, like I could have prevented him from
Yeah.
falling in
Yeah.
to begin with, and now I got to jump in and
Yeah.
save him while
No,
he's drowning.
regardless, I feel that it's my responsibility
Now,
as the best man to do the best I can.
my question to you is how do you reconcile that thought with bringing God into the equation? Like that could have very much been what God needed to happen for both of us.
No, I don't feel guilty.
in our own lives, you know?
I feel guilty that I wasn't there at the beginning. What happened in the end is not,
Yeah.
I don't think about as much. But
Yeah.
just to want to hear Edward's, take a deep for you can recollect. I realize now that's why I am the way I was with you and Chen Ying. I didn't want to make the same mistake I made with being hands off and not sharing my whatever wisdom I possess. What do you think about that?
I didn't know that was going on at the time. Or,
I kind of made a decision to change who I was.
You feel like you were kind of like a big brother, and like you know your eyes were somewhere else for a minute, and then something bad happened to your
Took my
little
eye off
brother,
the ball. Yeah.
and then that's why now
It's like I left home and I wasn't there to
Yeah, and then you come home, and then it's like, you know,
the
something
hell's going on?
happened.
Yeah.
And then now, like, you feel like now with the people that you look after, like,
I'm on it.
you don't want to take your eyes off
I
because
don't, not even I want to,
something
I
bad
just
might
don't.
happen.
I don't take my eyes off it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you think, Edward?
No thoughts.
There's nothing wrong with it?
Not at the moment.
What are your thoughts when you hear me say that even though that something bad happened, like, I'm good?
I'm happy for you.
Okay, like I'm saying, but does that alleviate any kind of like stress for you for
No,
how
no, I don't-
how you're like operating in other people's lives now?
No, I don't.
You
I
saying
don't,
you
I
have
don't-
regrets, Garrett?
No, I don't carry that with me because I made the change. You know,
Yeah, but I'm saying like
I don't have regrets.
if you
I feel sad.
don't have your eyes, let's say on Edward or Everett or you know Zesson or whatever, like even if you take your eyes off of them and something bad happens to them, like they will be okay. Just like I was okay. Like yeah, I mean you may have like understandably had your attention on something else, and yeah, like I mean this relationship, you know, kind of it got past you and.
No, there's a difference. I feel that with them, there's a factor in that it's okay to make mistakes, but for you it's a little different. Yeah, I feel like you needed more of my assistance at times than they do because I've already programmed them. I've already trained them up. Like it's okay. Like they're willing.
Yeah.
I let them go now. They
Yeah,
know-
like they're like growing up under guidance.
They have
like,
good structure,
we didn't,
foundation.
Like we didn't really grow up
For you,
under somebody being like, "Hey, let me guide you." We just kind of learned.
you didn't
along
have
the
that
way.
same structure that they have. So I
Yeah.
feel that you needed more of me.
Yeah, but I mean, I hate that it happened, but I'm okay that it happened because, like,
No, good. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sitting here celebrating divorce.
No, I'm talking about.
But I'm just
the only thing I
being like-
regret was that I wasn't more proactive during your courtship.
What would you have done differently?
I really said, Luis, if I don't get to know her, I feel uncomfortable with me trying to support you as a friend.
Yeah, then like I can't, and that would have changed. I mean, I'm not saying this to make you feel guilty, but if you,
And part of it was
As-
that you were stubborn.
yeah,
But my answer is I have to be even more stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
But part of it I know is like you're very insecure about some things and
Mm-hmm.
you kind of you blow a fuse easily. Let's go. We're not going to see him, you know?
yeah,
And I just have to understand like that's what it means to be your friend. I have to put up with that bullshit that you make me walk through at times.
Yep.
And that I have to go, how you treat me now is not
Mm.
you're going to thank me later even though I feel like shit now.
Mm.
For putting up your nonsense.
Mm.
And so I know it's not all my fault. Like obviously
Yeah.
you were at fault too, but that's how I would have approached it.
I will say if we didn't have the history that we had, like if you had sat me down and you're like, Luis, with all the love in my heart, like I can't support you in this relationship. I don't have a good feeling about it.
Yeah.
I would have trusted you on it. Like I'm not saying that like it was your responsibility, but I'm saying like if you had come, because like if I followed your ass to Kenya, you know what I mean, like and did all this other stuff, then and for a vision that wasn't even real yet. And I, you know, like I said, primarily if God was like, hey, Luis, you need to go and back this guy up.
I know.
And if you came to me and you're like, I don't have a good feeling about this, man. Like, I can't take this trip with you. Like, I need you to like sit back. I need you to fall back. Like, I need you to trust me on this. Yeah, I probably would have given you a lot of shit, but I'm saying like, yeah, it would have changed things for me.
I know.
I don't think I was in a space where I could have.
It would have been easy for me.
I
to
wouldn't have moved forward. I would not have been. I wouldn't have been able to sustain moving forward without that system of support. You know what I mean? Like I think now is like very different. I'm not saying like, oh, I don't need any friends or nothing
So
like
now
that.
you know why I am the way I am.
With others, yeah.
No, with you too sometimes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I do want to alleviate you from any kind of like hurt that you have, though.
No, I don't have any hurt.
From not like, it sounds like it created a little bit of trauma for you. Honestly, like you know what I mean? Like
it made me change. And
Yeah.
it's fine because pain is fine as long as you grow from it.
Yeah.
If you don't grow from it, the pain is just pain. So I'm okay with it.
You grew from it.
I think we both grew from this. You know what I mean? Like I ended up going through with it, and the relationship is what it was. And I will say, is for me, just so that I take some accountability for my own actions. Like I was not one. I mean, I give myself. First of all, I grant myself forgiveness for being in that place because I wasn't as mature as I could have been. So you're only going to make decisions out of the maturity level that you have. And if you're not mature, you're going to make immature decisions. So I made immature decisions. For example, just not loving myself enough or being comfortable enough in who I was to truly present myself for who I was.
I know.
You know, that was me. That was all me.
I know.
But then now, I mean, like, yeah, I'm kind of glad it all blew up in my face because, you know what I mean? Now I'm kind of like, well, damn, like, this is where that led me. And now I have to rebuild from the ground up. But this time around, I'm going to be me and fuck anybody who doesn't love me. You know what I mean? Like, I love me. And that's going to be enough for the first time ever. And I think that after that, like, that's real freedom right there. You know what I mean? So, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there any thoughts?
Thought of Tomoy. I love me. Imagine
No,
that.
no, no. I just think overall, this, you being this, our friendship throughout this a little bit of rough patch in his life of marriage.
It's your personality. You feel responsible for others' well-being. We talked about that this morning.
Not everyone, just the ones who are close.
Yeah, Luis doesn't want you to feel bad.
I don't feel bad.
yeah.
I
don't
I feel a little bad, but I won't. But not really because I've grown from it myself. That's all.
I mean, from where you're sitting now, like, I mean, you see that I'm okay.
I just believe you. Like I'm just gonna say, if you say you're okay, I'm gonna be like, okay, you're okay.
Yeah, like,
I mean, there's nothing else to
yeah,
say.
I mean, yeah, I could like be like lying to you, but like, yeah, I'm legitimately like saying like,
Oh, you said you're not
like-
gonna lie.
you said what?
You told me you're trying not to lie. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like I'm
You
trying
say
to
you would
say,
try to be more honest. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna believe you.
yeah, like, so to me, I'm saying like I'm grateful for that experience. Like I think that's what forgiveness is being able to look at an experience or a person and saying, you know, thank you for that. You know, and this is what I took from it. And so like, yeah, divorce like sucked. But I don't like blame you per se. Like I'm not like, I don't blame you at all. I don't even really see you as oh man, if Garrett had been there for me earlier, then I wouldn't have ever ended up getting married. Like, no, like this needed to blow up in my face. And I feel like God in his own wisdom and in his own way was like, all right, fine, let Luis go the direction he wants to go, but I'll catch him when he falls. But I also think that right now, like somewhere in all of that is like, I don't know, I'm hoping that by you seeing that I'm good now, that God is at work in your life in a way that shows you that even if you can't watch after the people that you love or can't save them in the way that you need to, that they will still be okay because God is who he is.
I don't really feel that way. I think that people you love, sometimes they go south, sometimes they go north. But I feel that's my responsibility. Not to make... I don't blame myself for their ultimate destination. I blame myself if I don't try to guide them along the way. That's all. Now, if they, at the end of the day, may make their own decision, I do the best I can. So
I think that's just the shepherd's heart in you, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's just a shepherd's heart. Like, I think that you...
I can't control people. Yeah.
I definitely think that you try.
Yeah, I do.
I definitely think that you'll try to, but I think that it's easy for you to overlook it because you know in your own heart that you're coming from a good place. But ultimately, it is still control, and you can't love and control something at the same time. You know what I mean? So all you could really do is like, you know, be this like person to be there, and then let them make their own choices, you know, and then but it sucks to see your loved ones kind of go through a tough time, and you're trying to do everything you can to like help them out. But I will say, I think you've been a phenomenal friend, like our entire lives, and even through that time.
even
Yeah.
though you feel like you could have done more
Mhm.
in the initial stages.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I don't know. What do you think?
I agree. Yeah. Let's go to a final chapter, I guess.
Okay.
What now? Anything else you want to talk about?
Like what now? Like what does the future hold?
Or anything else I maybe skipped over or glossed over? We basically went through most of our friendship, which was a lot, Edward.
Yeah.
I mean,
You gonna talk about like ministry and all?
whatever. I think we're good. I mean,
Really?
I don't feel the need to.
I mean, I think now, like, I mean, God willing, like, you got this kid on the way. You know what I mean? Like, I hope that whoever this kid is gonna like be listening to this like podcast someday
Yeah.
Do it.
and be like, damn, like that's my dad.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like my dad, like, really, really cares about people. You know, and I hope that that kid is listening and thinks, if my dad cares this much about other people that he calls his friends, then how much more does he care for me as his child? And then on top of that,
yeah.
if my humanly father cares about this much about me as their child, how much more does my heavenly father care about him and me? You know, as his creations, as his masterpieces, you know? And I think that ultimately your shepherd's heart glorifies God, you know, seeing it like in all in connection that way. And as far as like, I mean, you're stuck with me, bro. Like, and I'm stuck with you. Like, that's just how that's going to be. So, you know what I mean? As far as like what's next, like I have no freaking clue.
I mean, I'm saying anything, on your mind. I didn't cover.
Do you have anything on your mind?
I would say that, not for Luis particularly, but for other people, I think people, I've said this kind of before, people have too low expectations of what it should mean to be a close friend. And I hope that if people made it through this freaking longest podcast interview ever, and that's fine with me, that they would want to be a great friend the way I try to be with Luis and the way he tries to be with me. And that you have to put in a lot of fucking work. It's exhausting. And I would say that there are many times that Luis has taxed me.
Yeah.
He's been very taxing. Like sometimes and it's not his fault. He's not trying to be a bad friend. It's just he's going through things. His mood is not there. He's short on patience. He's lying. He's distracted. He's having a little too much fun.
Yeah.
But that's the importance of loyalty, to rise above all these kind of mini bumps in the road, waves. And I hope that other people can desire to practice the virtue of friendship the way I do and Luis does for me. That's what I think about at work. And I don't think many people have this ability. And it's to their detriment. Yeah.
I here's my question. Where do you draw the line? You know what I mean? Because like there's too many times where relationships, like the understanding of relationships is like, how much shit can I take? And when I take a lot from this person, it must mean I really love them. But that can easily become a really bad situation.
I'm forever committed.
But I'm saying like what is the difference for you, like between like, damn, I will do this for Luis
I think about
versus like, I'm not doing this for this fucker, like, for this guy. Like, why?
Well,
Like, where do you draw the line between like, this is a friend and this person's just a person who puts me through a lot of shit and I don't really need to be here? Like, because you could have been like, fuck this guy, like at any point.
it's
Like, Luis is gonna do what he wants to do. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and just be like, pick him up and and dust him off when he decides to come back with his tail between his legs. Like, so like, what made the difference for
you have
you?
a good memory.
Yeah.
Something Luis struggles with, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do a good job of reminding him at times. That's where loyalty comes in. I remember all the things that people do for me. Yeah, it sounds silly. I've said this before. You have to have 3 perspectives: the past, the present, and the future. I don't ever forget the past, which is why I believe you can never lose your salvation, because God always remembers, sees everything at the same time. That's kind of my opinion. I don't ever forget what you've done for me. Obviously, I feel the present, and I always think about what you're going to want from me in the future. So loyalty comes from the past. How I treat you now in the present, I often think about the future perspective. So like for Edward and all the kids, I don't want you to like me. I'd rather you hate me now and respect me 5 years from now than to like me and not respect me. So I always think about the future. So when it comes to your marriage, I think, you're going to thank me. Sometimes we butt heads. I go, you're going to thank me in the future. Or you'll forgive me. But the point is, obviously, if I only examine it from the present, I'm not going to do it. So, that's my answer. You have to have the deep perspective. Obviously, if you just met someone, it's a little dangerous to fall in love. And when I use the word fall in love, I don't just mean romantically. I do that with youth ministry. I fall in love with people. And you want to raise them up and bestow upon them all these virtues. But I have to make sure, like, I just met you. I don't really know you well enough. And I have to test you. But for you, I know you pass a lot of tests. Like, you want me to Kenya, all these things. You supported me for so many years. So at a certain point, it's for life. Yeah. After a certain point. That's my answer. Long answer to your question.
Do you feel like all of this is like God's like silly way of like preparing you for fatherhood?
God is really silly. He real fucking silly to me. He made me do a lot of stuff.
He's like,
he tries to break my heart and then replace it with another girl. He gives me the highest testosterone in the world and can't impregnate my wife.
And then gives you,
he gave me high testosterone. I'm like, where my boys at? I've got boys, I don't got girls, Like, I'm the roughest dude. I'm a pretty rough guy. And now I have to become a daddy's girl. You ever be like a daddy? Like, that's my princess,
That's adorable.
Soft.
And it's like, I don't expect, I don't know who I'm becoming. Honestly, it's weird. Like,
Who you're meant to be.
like, one thing, just, we can go on forever, but relating to this silliness, Luis used to be jealous of me because I used to be really good at not showing girls favoritism.
Oh.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, it breaks my heart. I'm so sensitive. I'm like so worried about girls. Obviously, I'm worried about everyone. But God has changed me, I guess. I've become like more paternal. So, I don't know what's happening, Luis. I don't want to predict what's happening because that opens you up for disappointment. But certainly, it does seem to be very confusing at times what God is doing in my life. Yeah.
So he's opening a fruit roll
I'm
up.
opening a fruit roll up, by the way. Gary has
Does
a
that
lot
sound?
of candy around here.
Well, let us. Hey, last words, Edward. Do you want to share anything?
Real loyalty is hard to come by.
Yeah. Loyalty. If you're listening out there and you're a disloyal person, I hope you don't get married and die alone. Or
Okay.
if you hear that and it makes you feel sad, learn to develop loyalty, which is really the goal. Because if you're not that, you're nobody. That's my opinion.
Other thoughts?
Sorry, Edward. I'm sorry. I took that over. Apologize. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Do you have any thoughts? My mistake. Yeah.
I would say, man, yeah, I think you've been a great friend, man. I think you've been closer than a friend. I think you've been a brother. I appreciate you. And I look forward to whatever the next adventure is. Because whether it's freaking Taekwondo, whether it's the Metro, whether it's Kenya or the next relationship, whether it's freaking fatherhood, which is going to be a hell of an adventure and a hell of a lot scarier than freaking Kenya. I'll tell you that. But yeah, man, I got your back for life. So whatever the next adventure is.
I don't know if you guys sometimes both feel misunderstood and alone, but it's this wonderful story makes me think about how great it is that you have each other. And I think about my best friend Tommy. Garrett's been a great friend to me too, and he puts up with me. And similar ways, I feel you, Luis.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Pretty relatable character.
It's a beautiful friendship. I hope other people hear this and feel inspired to be better or model their current friendships after this. So yeah.
I'll say this. This is another thing I appreciate you for. In today's culture, if somebody gets canceled, it's like everybody separates themselves from that person. And I feel like I'm just a dude who's trying to figure life out, figure out who I am. I've become a million different people to figure out who that person is. You know me, I've gone through so many different styles, so many different aesthetics. I've tried to be like, you've always kind of been the same dude.
I make fun of you a little bit.
Exactly. My hair has changed, my style has changed, my shoes changed.
Your weight has changed.
My weight has changed. But like, you know, I'm just trying to figure like I'm just a human. I'm just trying to figure life out. And I've been a good guy, I've been the bad guy, I've been the hero, I've been the villain. To somebody who doesn't know me, they could look at a certain chapter of my life and judge me on it and think they know my entire story. But I really appreciate your perspective of seeing the whole thing, because you at any point could have been like, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? Like, this dude is bad news bears. You know what I mean? But like, you've been there from page 1 to where we are like now, and you haven't, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that is what makes all the difference in where the story goes. Because I think it's like when people have people cast them out or misunderstand them or judge them, that kind of dictates a lot of where their story ends up going. Because they don't have a friend. They don't have a person. They don't have an island. They don't have a, what did you say?
A dock.
A dock. Mm-hmm. They don't have a place to dock in the storm. You know what I mean? And then they just get carried away. And they don't have anybody to reel them in, pull them in close, hug them, and be like, I love you, fucker. Like, you know, like, you're loved. You're loved. You're loved. You're loved. Like, don't forget it. Now go out, be a dumbass, and then when you come back, you're still gonna be loved. Like, and I think that's like that is a godly friendship. That is a God honoring, God glorifying, Christ loving type of friendship. I think that is what Jesus meant when he said that when you know, the greatest love is somebody willing to give their life up for their brothers. Like, that's what that looks like.
Bros over hoes, guys. You heard that, ladies?
Over hoes.
Ladies, bros over hoes.
Bags over boys.
Money over bees. That's right. Oh, okay, bag over. All right, maybe we'll stop it there, but thank you, Luis, to my dearest, most loyal friend. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, brother. I love you.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.